Hey, good morning from the office. North Georgia's only live online morning show. We had a little technical difficulty. It's 8:11 this morning. You have to stay with it, Lonnie. That's what the mistake we make. Is just not staying with it. You follow what I'm saying?
Somewhat.
Okay.
Well, I mean, I've stayed with you this long. How much longer do I have to
No,
stay?
I'm saying you got to stay with the stream key that we put on there. We're 12 minutes late. We hope you're still with us. Lonnie, go to all the Facebook pages and tell everybody that we're up, okay? Put it out there, put it out on Twitter, whatever we got to do. Tell everybody that we're up and running, okay?
Copy.
And thank you very much out there. Sorry about the delay this morning. We are running live now, fetchyournews.com. Good morning from the office, North Georgia's only live online morning show.
You ever get the feeling that computers just don't like us?
I prefer you not ask me that question today. Because I think there's a long list that don't like, put it out there, put it out. I think there's a long list. Hey, you know, why don't you fix also the screen? You know, I think people.
You're the one that likes your hair so much. I'm just trying to let the people at home have the same experience.
Yeah, thanks.
I want to make sure that all our viewers learn to like your hair as much as you like your hair.
All right. Hey, folks, good morning from the office, North Georgia's only live online morning show. I'm BKP. Talk to your friends, get them back online, tell them to get on the show. I was at the Board of Education in Fannin County for 3 hours last night. Three hours, actually 4 hours. Went in there and set up. Citizens, a couple thousand. So if people are reporting things this morning, a couple thousand people were there last night talking about transgender bathrooms. Now, first and foremost, let's go over a couple things. Okay, the U.S. directs public schools to allow transgender access to restrooms. All right? Something is wrong with the timing on this, folks. Something's wrong with the timing. Now, let me say it like this, okay? The issue in North Carolina, the issue in Fannin County, something's wrong with the timing. I just want to highlight to you that if President Obama, now this we can't solve in just a couple minutes. If President Obama did as much or spent as much time trying to do things for the black community as he did the LGBT. Now, I'm going to say something, and I don't want this misunderstood, okay? Because I'm not saying the president is anything whatsoever, but he's supposed to be the first black president. And if you look at what's going on in this country concerning blacks, racial divide, racial tension, racial divide, there's nothing any better. Things are not better for the black community in Ferguson, in Baltimore, in Miami, in Dallas, in Atlanta, in Newark, New Jersey, in New York City, Detroit, St. Louis, the list goes on, LA. There's nothing any better for the black community. Nothing. They have your vote. It's done. It's over with. You would think he was the first gay president. Now, I did not call him gay. I do not want to hear you say, well, you just called the President of the United States gay. No, I did not. As a wife and 2 children, I don't know anything there. But according to the direction he has gone in his 8 years, according to the agenda that seems to be the most important to him, the LGBT community, you would think that this president was gay. Now, the U.S. District's public schools to allow, U.S. directs public schools to allow transgender access to restrooms. The Obama administration is planning to issue a sweeping directive telling every public school district in the country to allow transgender students to use the bathroom that match their gender identity. That, you got to sink that in, that matches their gender identity. A letter to school districts will go out Friday, today, adding to a highly charged debate over transgender rights in the middle of the administration's legal fight with North Carolina over the issue. Now let's stop there. At least North Carolina knew. At least North Carolina knew to get out in front of this. They knew it. Folks, it is time to have a battle in this country over state rights. And I know what you think I just said. I'm asking for a peaceful battle. Now, I'm going to say 2,000. We'll use 2,000 people attended Fannin County school system last night. There was an overflow set up in their gymnasium. Maybe it wasn't 2,000, maybe 1,500. We're going to use 2,000. Maybe 2,000 were there and they used the overflow in the gymnasium where they broadcast the public speakers for 3 hours. Folks, you have tried the battle at the ballot box. You tried that. Vote them out, they say. Vote them in. Go from Democrat to Republican. I'm telling you, folks, I was in the room last night. People are fed up. Now, you're going to hear all of these talk show hosts today all over the United States of America try to tell you what they think they hear and what they think they know. But I'm going to tell you what. I'm going to bet that I'm the only person that's coming to you live this morning that sat there with a camera 30 feet away from every speaker last night. Anthony Walden spoke for about 15 minutes. One after another came up, said it was wrong. One after another came up, said they want the same privacy protections for their children. They want their children to have their own bathroom. And they demand it gets provided for them. One after another said they would pull their kids out of the school. Folks, I think they're serious. Now, I'm not going to tell you what the county attorney Lynn Doss said last night was 100% wrong. But she's part of the problem. And let me explain. She's part of the problem. How do you figure that? Well, she's going to say this morning, and the school administration is going to say this morning, is if you find out what this is going to cost you in lawsuits from the federal government. Now, I'm not going to say the people of Fannin County are rich. When you see the video, I've got the 3-hour video uploading now to YouTube. You go to fetchyournews.com, you're going to find a 3-hour video, uncut. This weekend, I will spend all weekend cutting each individual speaker out. But it's 3 hours of citizens, one right after another to the podium. Go to Fetch Your News Pritchard, YouTube. Fetch Your News Pritchard. You will find our YouTube channel. Folks, 3 hours. Now, these people aren't rich that came to the podium last night. They're not loaded with money, but they are the taxpayers. Now, I'm going to get into that a little later. Now, I've got this morning coming in, and Lonnie, we have to watch the door, make sure it's open. I've got Andrew Lohman. You're going to want to stay with me all the way to 10 o'clock, folks. I got Andrew Lohman coming in at 8:30 this morning. I've got, don't listen to Lonnie, folks. Listen to me. I got Andrew Lohman coming in here at 8:30 this morning. He's a candidate for probate judge in Gilmer County. And then at 9 o'clock, I've got Sam Snyder coming in here at 9 o'clock. He is a candidate for 7th District State House. And so we've got a couple guests, but you're going to want to stay all the way through because we're going to stay with this same story all the way to the end of the show. Now, folks, the Supreme Court said they legalized same-sex marriage. Okay? And the LGBT community took that and the president as including everything. Everything. You have every right that goes with that now. Every right. And they're hanging on Title 10. Now today, because North Carolina had the forethought to say, hey, you know what? We've got to do something about this out front because of the city of Charlotte. A letter to school districts will go out Friday, adding to a highly charged debate over transgender rights in the middle of the administration's legal fight with North Carolina over the issue. The declaration signed by the Justice and Education Department officials will describe that schools should do. It will describe what schools should do to ensure that none of their students are discriminated against. None of their students. Now, parents last night said, if you're going to let a little boy go in a little girl's room, if you're going to let a little girl go in a little boy's room, I'm going to tell you what was not answered last night. I'm going to tell you the question that nobody answered last night at this Board of Education. Nobody answered this question. But what they're saying is discriminate against. Now, parents last night said, look, if you're going to let a little boy go into the little girl's room, you go tomorrow and you send my son to the teacher's lounge, or you send my daughter to a private bathroom and guarantee their right that nobody walks in on them. Guarantee it to us parents. You see, that's who needs to be in charge, folks, the parents. We'll describe what schools should do to ensure that none of their students are discriminated against. It does not have the force of law, but it contains a threat. I'm sorry. Whew, I didn't go to bed till about 1:15 this morning. I cannot get that out to save my life.
Implication.
I'll work with that, Lonnie. I'll go with that. I'll tell you what to bet about 1:15. Schools that do not abide by Obama administration's interpretation of the law could face lawsuits or loss of federal aid. The move is certain to draw fresh criticism, particularly from Republicans, that the federal government is wading into local matters. Now, if it's in local matters, and this is what we're going to discuss later today, folks. We're going to get into this. If it's in local matters, why did David Ralston, Steve Gooch, the governor of Georgia, take this on? See, I'm going to tell you a couple things they did not answer last night. County attorney got up and told you to call your governor. I think that was a joke. Actually, I think county attorney, I would not have said that last night. Lynn Doss, knowing good and well that the governor of Georgia just vetoed the religious liberty bill, knowing good and well all you need right now is Delta and Home Depot and all the big corporations to tell the governor he cannot sign a bathroom bill. Why you even ask people to call Governor Nathan Deal, I do not know. The move is certain to draw fresh criticism, particularly from Republicans, that the federal government is wading into local matters and imposing its own values on communities across the country that may not agree. They don't agree, folks. They don't agree. You do not worry about, do not try to go another minute and try to figure out why Donald Trump's resonating in this country. They don't agree, okay? It represents the latest example of the Obama administration using a combination of policies, lawsuits, and public statements to change the civil rights landscape for gays, lesbians, bisexual, and transgender people. Not black. Oh, no, not black. First black president, not black. This story is not how Obama came out today and signed an executive order, saying that you have to hire 4 new black males. Not that I would agree with that. It's not that the president came out today and said that, white unemployment and black unemployment had to balance equally. Not that I would agree with that. It has nothing to do with black as the first black president. The landscape for gays, lesbians, bisexual, and transgender people. Something don't add up here, folks. After supporting the rights of gay people to marry, allowing them to serve openly in the military, the social experiment we're working on today, and prohibiting federal contractors from discriminating against them, the administration is wading into the battle over bathrooms and siding with transgender people. No student should ever have to go through the experience of feeling unwelcome at school or on college campus. No student. No student. No student. Forget the majority. Forget that there's 3,000 kids in Fannin County School. Forget that there's only 2. 2. I hear 3,000 kids. That means 2,998 want to go into the bathroom of the gender on their birth certificate. Forget all that. No. 2 children. Let me tell you what was not, before I finish this article, answered last night. And I'm sorry. Let me go back. First of all, I should have opened the show with this. I told Mark Henson, the superintendent of schools, and I'm going to tell you straight up exactly what I said. I told Mark Henson, the superintendent of schools, the day this came about, that A, I love him very much, I consider him a friend, and I support him. I went home last night, and I walked up to Mark Henson after 3 hours that he heard the public. The man told me this is probably the roughest time he's ever had in his administration as superintendent of schools in Fannin County. He'd never been through anything like this, and I walked up to him before I went home, and I looked at him, and I said, Mark, I love you. You're my friend, and I support you. And I do, folks, I do. I will look at anybody. I looked at administrators yesterday, and I told them, don't you ever, ever fall for anybody tell you that FedYourNews.com does not support teachers. Do not fall for that. This is not about teaching, folks. Are you not understanding what in the world we've put our teachers in the middle of? Could you see a teacher standing at the front of the chalkboard? Now, I'm old, right? So to me, it's a chalkboard. I know they got pads and they got fancy computer screens on the wall now, and they highlight that. I understand that. To me, it's a chalkboard. So let's go back. Could you see the teacher? Now, I'm not so old I don't remember raising my hand and telling the teacher I had to go to the bathroom. And I'm not so old that I remember Miss Middleton saying, can you not wait for the rest of the class? And I'm not so old that I don't remember going up to the desk of the teacher and whispering and saying, no, Miss Middleton, I can't wait. I need to go. And I remember her saying, go on to the bathroom, and not even having to think twice whether she could continue her English, math, whatever lesson she was working on, because she was concerned or had to walk me down the hall to let me go to a bathroom that I identified with. Now, I know, God forbid, that I'm so old that is just, my God, look at how backwards I am. But now we got teachers this morning all across this nation Folks, have you looked at the statistics that we can't keep teachers? Have you looked? Have you looked at the statistics that they will not get into the field of teaching? They're running away from it. They're leaving it. Have you looked? Teacher retention, it's just something you need to look into. And you've got teachers this morning that are trying to do an English lesson at the front of the class. And little Barbara that thinks now that she's Bobby, or he's Bobby, or whatever the hell they are, says, I've got to go to the bathroom. Teacher has to completely stop and focus on something that has nothing to do with teaching this morning. Nothing. No student should ever go through the experience of feeling unwelcomed at school or on college campuses. John B. King Jr., the Secretary of the Department of Education, I knew we would get to it. I knew it. See, the bathroom has nothing to do with education. John B. King Jr., the Secretary of the Department of Education, said in a statement, we must ensure that our young people know that whoever they are, oh my God, how do you read this stuff? How do you go through the day? Whoever you are. You walk up to somebody in Walmart and say, who the hell are you? Whoever you are, or wherever they come from. They have the opportunity to get a great education. Folks, this is not about education. In an environment free from discrimination, harassment. Let me read that in the Kumbaya, the way they want you to read this. Here's how they want you to read this. This is the statement. No student should ever go through the experience of feeling unwelcomed at the school or college campus. John B. King Jr., the Secretary of the Department of Education, said in a statement, we must ensure that our young people know that whoever they are or whatever they come from, they have the opportunity to get a great education in an environment free from discrimination, harassment, and violence. Now, folks, I've got to go to my guest that's coming there. We're going to get a guest in here. But I'm telling you right now, Department of Education. We need to end the Department of Education. Where were the elected officials? Now, I'm going to tell you something. I'm not going to go all the way around. But I've sat through this election and I heard that we had to raise taxes. And I heard we had to do a transportation bill. Think about it, folks. We had to do a transportation bill. And I had, sitting right here in this office, I had elected officials say, but we had to deal with the crisis. And folks, I've got the video. How many elected officials told you, what if a school bus was going over a bridge and it collapsed? A busload of kids. We have a crisis. We needed to raise your taxes so we could build highways. Folks, you better look at your elected officials before you go vote tomorrow, Saturday, or Tuesday. And you better look at them and think about if they understand what a true crisis is in this country and what should have been a priority down there under the Gold Dome like North Carolina, protecting our children. Because what I seen last night is, you know what? They voted in the Republicans. They voted the Republicans in the Senate. They voted the Republicans in the House of Representatives. They didn't vote them in to slow down Obama and his agenda. They didn't do that. They didn't tell Obama and his agenda, we want you to slow down. They voted the Republicans in to stop Obama. Let me tell you something. I'm going to tell you something right now. The American people voted the Republicans in the House and the Senate to stop Obama, not slow him down. The people, the citizens of Georgia, voted in Republicans in the House and Senate down under the Gold Dome and the governor to stand up to Washington, D.C., and stand up for the state and stand up for the people of Georgia. And the county commissioners The citizens in your county voted you as county commissioners to push back on the state. You see, the local people voted the local government in to push back on the state. The citizens of the state voted the people in to push back on the government. And the people of the United States of America voted the House of Representatives and the Senate in to stop Obama, not slow him down. And the battle is on. I seen it last night. It's not going to stop in this country. The battle is on. The silent majority came out. I seen people for 3 hours that I never thought would go to a microphone and talk say enough's enough. I'm your host, BKP. Good morning from the office, North Georgia's only live online morning show. When we come back, we'll have Andrew Lohman in here. Andrew is a candidate for Gilmer County probate judge. We'll have him in here for about 15 minutes. Let him tell you why he would like to be elected to that office. And then at 9:05, we're going to have Sam Snyder in here. He's a candidate for 7th District, House race, 7th District. So, Lonnie, take a break here, and we'll be back after these brief messages.
I'm Sheriff Dane Kirby, and I'll stand up for you.
I'm Stacy Nicholson, Sheriff of Gilmer County, and I will stand up for you.
Stand up and speak out. No matter how rich, cool, talented you believe yourself to be, how you treat people ultimately tells all. I am Allison Sosby, District Attorney, and I'll stand up for you.
Better days ahead. Truck Month is back at your new Days Chevrolet in Jasper with savings up to $8,000 off MSRP. Right now, get a roomy new Chevy Equinox for just $23,200, or get Days max discount on a new Silverado Crew Cab, just $31,900, plus instant easy credit with Days Fast Track Credit Center. But these Truck Month savings won't last long. Get to Days Chevrolet in Jasper, where Chevy cars and trucks cost less.
Better days ahead, Days Chevrolet.
Find new roads.
North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds. Come on in to view the area's largest selection of fine jewelry at North Georgia Diamond. All repairs and designs are done on site by our jewelers. And North Georgia Diamond has the lowest prices on loose diamonds. You can also sell your gold, silver, and coins at North Georgia Diamond between Walmart and Lowe's in East Ellijay. Locally owned by Bill and Allison Craig, North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds in North Georgia.
Save big on service at Schadenkerk. Get a full service oil change for only $29.99. That's right. Get an oil and filter change, tire rotation, brake check, AC check, and multi-point inspection, all for just $29.99.
Give us a shot at Schadenkerk.
Get the $29.99 oil change special at Schadenkerk Ford or any of our convenient locations in the heart of Georgia.
As Bentley says, give us a shot at Schadenkerk.
Online at SchadenkerkAtlanta.com.
Doug Collins can't defend his own record. What does he do? He tries to divert our attention from his record, and he's diverting it onto Paul Brown. He is refusing to stand up and talk to us about his record. He wants to talk to us about Windstream. Any congressman that's sitting up there is going to try to help the people with their issues with Windstream. Any congressman sitting up there is going to try to help their people when the Corps of Engineers changes the rules on pulling water out to water your grass. Any congressman will do that. But will any congressman go up there and vote against omnibus bill? Will any congressman go up there and stand for the 9th District instead of standing for Washington? Will any congressman go up there and tell Washington what the 9th District wants instead of coming back here and telling us why Washington has to have its way? I'll tell you, no, not just any congressman will. Let Doug Collins come back and sit down and get out of our hair.
This is Mike Scoopine, and I approve this message.
Paid by Scoopine for Congress.
Trust,
Round here, we trust people who get things done, like our state representative, David Ralston. He's cut taxes and balanced the state budget every year. And Ralston delivers new roads, new jobs, a new university, and the toughest immigration laws in America. Those Washington guys talk big, but never deliver. Round here, we trust David Ralston. Ralston gets it done.
Doug Collins has been a bad representative for the 9th District.
How bad is it?
Doug is such a bad representative that he won't even represent himself against his challengers for the 9th District seat. Well, that's pretty easy to understand. After all, showing up to defend a record like Doug's is a pretty tall order. Since taking office, Doug has voted with the House leadership over 90% of the time. Doug voted for Boehner for Speaker twice. He voted to spy on you, to bail out Wall Street banks in advance of the next crisis, to train Islamic radicals to take down foreign governments that pose no threat. Doug voted for the Omnibus, the Omnibus, voted to fund every Title X Planned Parenthood appropriation, and then has the nerve to try to sell you that he did not vote to fund abortion. If you want a representative who will work tirelessly to undo every wrong Doug Collins has done against the will of the 9th District, vote for Mike Skupine, a proven leader protecting the U.S. Constitution.
Mike Skupine, and I approve this message.
Paid by Skupine for Congress.
In 2015, our Gilmer County Probate Court heard over 1,300 criminal cases, 250 estate and guardianship matters, and probate administered 110 plus wills. Those are very serious issues, and experience matters. We talked about the fact that every county with more than 96,000 people has a licensed attorney as their probate judge. The state requires it. They don't hear different cases. They don't hear different matters, and I don't believe that the due process you receive when you go to the probate court should be based off the county you live in. You want to have a judge who's been there, who's been on the other side of the bench, who's argued that, who knows it, and who can help you. Because compassion isn't always just about being able to listen, but it's being able to do something when you do listen. Experience matters, and I will use my experience in my private practice, in the U.S. Attorney's Office, and in 2 judges' chambers for the people of Gilmer County.
With early voting starting May the 2nd and the primary beginning on May the 24th, you'll be voting to elect leaders to several offices here in Fannin County. When it comes to the Chief Magistrate, you need someone that demonstrates honesty, integrity, and experience. Since being appointed by the Superior Court judges, I've made it my passion to uphold the same values and principles as the Honorable Judge before me. Whether it is answering the call when our community needed me or operating under budget during my term as Chief Magistrate, it's clear that throughout my 11 years of experience, I have always had Fannin County's best interests at heart. So this May, vote for the right choice. Vote for honesty, integrity, and experience. Vote to keep Sherry Walker.
Live online morning show. I have some great news. One, I just found my second pair of glasses. You'll be happy to know that. Actually, I'm happy to know that. But the news I have this morning is I'm happy to be joined by Andrew Lohman. Andrew is a candidate for Gilmer County Probate Judge. Mr. Lohman, how are you this morning?
I'm doing good, Brian. Thanks for having me.
You've never campaigned for anything before. What's it like? I mean, I find on the level when you get up to you know, like House District and Senate and things like that, these men and women are used to campaigning. But has it been a real eye opener for you?
It has. It's been an eye opener, but it's been a great experience. You know, it's I believe when I first got into this, I never really would have imagined the the daily devotion that it requires in order to be able to do this appropriately, and all of the work that goes into this. But I figured it out real quick that it was going to take a lot of devotion, and I've been happy to do it, and it's been a great experience. I've met a lot of great people along the way. I've gotten a lot of support from a lot of great people here in the community, and I've just been really happy with it.
Well, folks, yesterday we've told you, and if you're have not been keeping up with the probate judge race here in Gilmer County, some have asked me why put so much time into it. But there are a lot of things when you start talking and looking into the probate judge, talking about it and looking into it, there's a lot of things that happen in that courtroom that you just don't think about. And a lot of communities, Andrew, are served by probate judges for several terms. Once you have a probate judge, they're there for several terms. At Gilmer County's probate judge is retiring and not seeking, Judge Anita Mullins seeking re-election. Now, you are a practicing attorney currently. Where's your firm at, or where do you practice at?
Well, as far as practicing and where it's at, I would say probably two different answers, because I practice a lot in the North Georgia area. I probably practice just as much in Gilmer County as I do anywhere else. My office is actually located in Pickens County, though. I work with an attorney by the name of Chuck McCurdy. When I was about 17, I knew I wanted to become an attorney. I thought about it. I started weighing my options, knew that it was time to start making a decision which direction I was going to head, and I really just kind of fell in love with the law. And I really enjoyed and fell in love with the law because I was looking for some sort of way to be able to move forward with my life in a direction where I could help other people. And I got into researching the law, and I thought, well, I believe this is a good way to do it. So I said, if I'm going to do this, I need to try to find a job with an attorney. So I started driving around. I started here in Gilmer County. I've always been from Gilmer County. I live here now, always have, except for about 3 years when I moved away, went to law school. But always been from Gilmer, and my family's always been from here. My great-great-grandfather was buried in the late 1800s here in Gilmer County. So we've been around here a while. My family has, so I have a very strong connection with this community. I love the people here. I love being able to help the people here. But getting back to what I was saying, I started driving around here in Gilmer County, and I went to some of the local offices, and I was motivated that day. I wanted the job that day, and I was kind of striking out here and there, had no experience, just got out of high school. So I drove down to Pickens County, and I said, well, I'll give it a shot down there, and went into Mr. McCurdy's office, and he said, well, if you can start today, I'll hire you. And that was almost 14 years ago. So I've been fortunate enough to work with him through law school and through my undergraduate degree. I still worked for him full-time while I was obtaining my undergraduate degree. So I've been able to learn a lot. I've been around the law for a long time, and it's something that's very important to me. And that's a lot of the reason why I started getting into the probate law. Right now, my practice, the practice area that I focus on the most is probate law. And the reason that there wasn't really any intention with that starting out. When I started working with Mr. McCurdy at a young age, the jobs that I did for him required me to actually be in the probate courts a lot. And I can remember being in the probate court here in Gilmer County in the old courthouse, where the courtroom, or the actual probate court, was probably about the size of this room, not much bigger. So I've been around the probate courts for a long time, and I've been fortunate enough to see a lot of great judges operate in these courts. And I've seen over the years, the way that the probate judge, when operating in the right fashion, is able to truly help people. It's a court to where people can come in and you can accomplish things that day. I've always admired, the judges around here that are, when somebody comes in and they say, I need this or I need that, and the judge greets them at the door with a handshake, and they're able to get things done like that. And I've always appreciated the courts, the probate court, for the ability to do that. Some of the other larger courts, Superior Court judges, not really in a position to do that because you just got so much going on. But a probate judge, I still feel, should be able to meet with people and discuss their issues to the extent that they can. They can't give legal advice, but to the extent that they can. But Nevertheless, as my experience with the probate courts grew over the years and I started doing more probate work, I got sworn in, became an attorney in 2011, and for whatever reason, my practice just kind of started focusing in on probate law. I started doing a lot more of it, and over the past couple of years, I was appointed as the county administrator for the Pickens County Probate Court, and over the past couple of months, I've been serving as the public defender for the Pickens County Probate Court, and I've been appointed in basically every role that you can be appointed in the probate courts in our circuit, except for judge, of course, but I've been served in numerous guardian roles. I've served in conservator roles. Like I say, I currently serve as the county administrator, so it's something I'm very familiar with. It's an area of the law that I feel like I've been fortunate enough to gain a lot of experience in over the years, and I've been fortunate enough I feel blessed to be able to have helped the people in the community with these issues that I have, because as you touched on a minute ago, the probate judge addresses some serious issues, and there's a lot of things that people just don't realize about the probate court. The probate court addresses, problems from addressing estate disputes and disputes among family members when you've probated a will and determining whether the will is good. There's all sorts of ways to dispute a will. The probate judge is the one that decides whether or not the will is going to be accepted to the probate court. The probate judge also addresses any estate issues that arise even when an individual doesn't have a will. So they come in and they have the person pass with property and the family needs to figure out what to do with it. The probate judge oversees that. In addition to that, they oversee your guardianship issues, your conservatorship issues when an individual, whether it be a minor or an incapacitated adult, whenever the family or whoever it may be is trying to determine whether or not to put that individual in a nursing home or have certain other things done, those issues come through the probate court. And I'm not going to get into everything a probate judge does because it's kind of a wide range of things, but one of the other most common things a probate judge does is address some of your minor traffic or criminal matters. The probate judge hears DUIs and traffic crimes and misdemeanor drug possession charges, things like that. So when you look at all these things as a whole, there's some fairly complicated matters that can be presented to a probate judge. And because of that, when Judge Mullins decided to retire this time, I decided, I believe it would be a good opportunity for me to use what I've learned over the years to put get that office headed in the right direction and put the right foot forward, hit the ground running, so to speak, when you get elected, be able to start on day one. Because I do believe it requires someone who's been in this court before, who's been around this area of the law, to be able to adequately do this job, like the people expect immediately. Because the probate judge does address some very serious matters. And when you get into a situation like this and you've not had the experience and you've not been around these issues before, you're in a situation, unfortunately, where you're somewhat practicing on people because you're going to have to figure it out at some point, and there's really no way to learn this stuff overnight. With any sort of job or any type of profession or whatever it may be, there's not really a whole lot that you can pick up, read a book overnight, and be able to start it immediately the next day. And I think this is no different. I think this truly requires someone who's been there before and is able to evaluate the law correctly, interpret the law, and apply it correctly, but also at the same time be able to somewhat relate to what the individuals are going through. And that's another area where I believe I bring something to the table, is because I've represented so many individuals in this fashion, in this court, and going through the problems that they have been going through, that I know where they're coming from. I know what's going on in their mind, because a lot of times it's not just the issues that are being addressed in the probate court. A lot of time there's a lot of things going on outside the probate court that are causing them stress, causing them problems as well. It's usually a bottleneck type situation when you're in a contested matter in the probate court. And the reason I say that is because you're usually fighting with family members, possibly creditors, things like that. I represent a lot of individuals around here where, unfortunately, in our day and age, I represented a couple not too long ago where the husband had passed. The man and wife had been married for about 60 years, and the wife didn't even have a driver's license. Everything was in the husband's name. And so when he passes, it's not a situation where she's unable to do anything, but she's in a situation where her hands are tied. She doesn't know what to do. And so, we run into that a lot. So it's important to be able to know not only what the law requires from this position, but also to be able to to relate to what the individuals are going through when they're going through those time periods in their life, because most people have not ever been in the probate court before. That's why there's so much, I think, somewhat of a lack of education about the court, because you don't really know about it until you've been there. But nevertheless, I want to be able to use what I've learned over the years, use the experience that I have in the court. I've represented individuals in, I think, 22 separate probate courts in North Georgia. So I've seen what the courts should look like when they're running right. Not to say that ours didn't, but I think that I'd like to see some improvement in certain areas, and I think that I can hit the ground and start getting us headed in the right direction on day one when elected.
Well, you know, you bring up something that has, when I say concern me, it concerns me that some people in the probate court race, not some people in the race, but during the race, some people, I asked the question, you are going to sit down with people at one of the most difficult times in their life. They're going through things. And there's a fine line of giving them advice that you can't per se do, but then having compassion and knowing, you know, hey, you need to fill this form out. I can't advise you, but you need to fill this. So you know what I'm saying? And yeah,
Absolutely.
So it is a very, you have to work with people. You're going to have people at a very difficult time when someone passes and there is no will, or there is a situation like that. You made me think for a minute. You took me back just a little bit. I always wondered, my grandmother never drove a car, never had a driver's license. Let me ask you one thing. Let me ask you a question before we close. Throughout the campaign, what some of the forums you've been to, meet and greet, we had a debate with the candidates, all the candidates. What are just a couple of the biggest questions people are asking you? What are the two number one things they're asking you about the probate court? What are you hearing the most?
Well, I think probably the two questions that I hear the most are really kind of tied into one, so to speak, and that's basically what I'm going to do with my law practice. Kind of revolves around that. A lot of what I hear, we've heard the words full-time a lot. If you're going to be a full-time judge, part-time judge, whatever that may be. I think ultimately what people are asking when they ask that question is, are you going to continue to practice law, or what are you going to do with your law office? So those are the two most common questions I get, but in all reality, I think the same answer kind of answers both of them. And what I tell people, you know, I never really realized we were going to get into this much of a, and I don't want to say that I get it every day, all day long either, but I never realized that it would be a situation where they would be discussing what we're going to do when we go home, so to speak, so much in this case. But I understand it as well. I understand people want to know where your priorities are going to be, what you're going to be doing when you're not when you're not here in the court, because they want to make sure that you've got this court as your number one focus, making sure that this is your number one priority, because if you're distracted and doing other things, then you're won't be able to put everything towards this office like you should. And, you know, I've said from the very beginning, I intend to be a full-time judge. And, you know, my interpretation of full-time judge, I don't really, the office right now, I believe they keep hours of 8 to 5, Monday through Friday. I intend to be there through those periods and more, because I think it's going to require more. As a probate judge, you're on the clock 24 hours a day in all reality, because if there are any involuntary commitments, things like that, 1013 issues that arise, you've got to be available. You've got to be available immediately. And I don't feel that that's any different than the job that I currently have now, because I think we've discussed in some of the forums, and you know, when I speak to people a lot about it, you know, my clients, I give my cell phone number out freely to my clients, because I don't want them going to bed worrying about a problem, worrying about an issue that I can answer to them in a few minutes. So I've always told my clients, give me a call, let me know, we'll talk about it, because I don't want you worrying about it all night. And I don't think this job will really be any different than that. I think you're still going to have to address some issues in the evenings, some issues at times that aren't necessarily 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. And I certainly plan to be available during those times. To answer the other part of the question, what I'm going to do with my law practice, and I know you didn't necessarily ask me that, but that's the other question that I somewhat get. And, you know, it's a situation to where I'm not going to completely remove my name from the firm, but I can't tell you that I'm going to be doing anything there. I can't tell you that I won't be doing anything there. And the reason being is because I certainly don't intend to do anything there if I do for quite some time, because I think it's going to take a little while to get this office rolling like I would want it to see it rolling. In the event in the future that in my free time, when I come home in the evenings or on Saturdays, that I'm able to help someone through discussing some sort of legal matter or legal problem, I can't say that I won't do that. And, that's just kind of the way that I'm wired. I like to be able to help people. That's the reason that I'm running for this position. If someone comes to me, for example, I when I first started practicing law, represented a lot of individuals who were, what we argued were being wrongfully evicted. And, very rarely it's not a lucrative profession, let me tell you that. And so very rarely are you in a position where you're doing it for any other reason than to help that person. But if someone came to me in that type of situation, and just because I'm the probate judge, and if I had the time on a Saturday and they said, "Can you look at this lease for me, and tell me what's going on," things like, I'm not going to turn them away. I just couldn't do that. And if I had the time and I have the ability to help someone, I don't think that I should not do it. And now that doesn't mean, on the flip side, that I'm going to be running up and down the courthouse halls practicing law every day, because I'm not. Anything that I did would not conflict with the probate court office, and won't be a matter where it's going to be a concern for anyone in that court. But at the end of the day, if the opportunity arises in the evenings, like I say, or on Saturdays or something like that, I may or may not do some work here and there. But once again,
Saturdays and Sundays, it's funny you say that. My brother-in-law is an attorney. Yes, I've admitted that. My brother-in-law is an attorney, and the poor guy, he's a hard worker, and he won't even watch football on Saturday without his legal briefcase here and his half glasses, and he's reading and he's making notes. He looks up between plays. I mean, Saturday, he doesn't stop. So I think I can understand. I guess what I'm hearing this morning is you're telling me and you're telling the citizens of Gilmer County, if elected, you will make the commitment to the court. That'll be your first priority, is to the court, to the citizens, providing the services, and that if elected, when they come back from a year from now, they wouldn't even be able to hardly recognize if you were handling a little something on the side, because it wouldn't be taken away from the services that the citizens want out of the probate court. I mean, am I somewhat putting that correctly?
I think you're absolutely correct, Brian. I don't know that it will ever be a situation where if I do anything that anyone would ever know about it, because like you said, the probate court will be absolutely my number one priority.
Well, it's understandable. Obviously, you're going to keep your law license. You worked very hard for that, and I respect that. And obviously, yes, you're going to keep your law license, and obviously, something's going to come up. And hopefully you're not from a very large family like my brother-in-law is from, where somebody's always calling, Uncle Mike. So, and you can't turn that down. But I think, first of all, we want to wish you well here at FetcherNews.com. We tell all candidates that we wish you well, and we thank you for your willingness to serve, Mr. Lohman. And don't forget, this Saturday is Election Day here in Georgia. You can go vote on Saturday, and then May 24th is actually Election Day throughout the entire state, every precinct in the state. So we're talking this morning with Andrew Lohman. He is a candidate for Gilmer County probate judge, and he's asking for your vote. Did you ask for their vote?
Well, I'd like to ask for their vote, but before I do that real quick, I would like to thank you, Brian, for having me on this morning. I also want to thank you for everything that you do. I think a lot of what you and your wife and your staff here do goes maybe a little unnoticed in the community. You guys work hard, you really do. I never realized how hard you work until I got into this, and I started realizing that not only do I see you everywhere I go, but I also see on your website that you're also in 100 other places all the time. So
thank you for recognizing.
I know you're on the go a lot, trying to keep the community informed of what's going on, not just our community, but several other counties as well, and I certainly appreciate what y'all do. But yes, I'm a candidate here, as we've discussed, for Gilmer County Probate Judge. I would like for you all to get out and vote for me, whether it be early this week, this Saturday. If you don't make it either one of those times, if you could vote for me at your local precinct on May 24th. I truly want to be able to work for you. I want to be able to get that office operating in a manner to where everyone in this community can be proud for the probate judge and the probate court that we have. Not to say that we don't now, but I think we should. I want to continue on the traditions that our judges have done, and I certainly believe that I'm the candidate to do so. So once again, I'd like for you to vote for me, and if you don't make it out early, vote for me on May 24th. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Loman.
Thank you,
Appreciate it.
Brian.
Thank you for coming in. I'm your host, BKP. Good morning from the office, North Georgia's only live online morning show. We're going to take a brief break, and then when we come back, we're going to have candidate. I need a couple more minutes to wrap up a story, but yes, if you have been waiting to see my interview with 7th District Georgia House 7th District candidate Sam Snyder, Sam will get plenty of time this morning, I promise. So we'll take a brief break. I got a couple more minutes. Stay with me on the transgender bathrooms, and then we'll get Sam Snyder in here. Lonnie, take us to break.
I'm Sheriff Dane Kirby, and I'll stand up for you.
I'm Stacy Nicholson, Sheriff of Gilmer County, and I will stand up for you.
Stand up and speak out. No matter how rich, cool, talented you believe yourself to be, how you treat people ultimately tells all. I am Allison Sosby, District Attorney, and I'll stand up for you.
Better days ahead.
Truck Month is back at your new Days Chevrolet in Jasper with savings up to $8,000 off MSRP. Right now, get a roomy new Chevy Equinox for just $23,200, or get Days max discount on a new Silverado Crew Cab, just $31,900, plus instant easy credit with Days Fast Track Credit Center. But these Truck Month savings won't last long. Get to Days Chevrolet in Jasper, where Chevy cars and trucks cost less.
Better days ahead. Days Chevrolet.
Find new roads.
North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds. Come on in to view the area's largest selection of fine jewelry at North Georgia Diamond. All repairs and designs are done on site by our jewelers. And North Georgia Diamond has the lowest prices on loose diamonds. You can also sell your gold, silver, and coins at North Georgia Diamond between Walmart and Lowe's in East Ellijay. Locally owned by Bill and Allison Craig, North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds in North Georgia.
Save big on service at Schadenkirk. Get a full service oil change for only $29.99. That's right. Get an oil and filter change, tire rotation, brake check, AC check, and multi-point inspection, all for just $29.99.
Give us a shot at Schadenkirk.
Get the $29.99 oil change special at Schadenkirk Ford or any of our convenient locations in the heart of Georgia.
As Bentley says, give us a shot at Schadenkirk.
Online at SchadenkirkAtlanta.com.
Now, where do you work at? Oh, okay, you work with. I'm right in front of the yellow house.
Hey, Josh Teague's interview got 44 views. Right. Are we back? Yeah. Okay, folks, that was Fannin County yesterday, pouring the rain. Right before the march was supposed to start at 5 o'clock, at 4:30, it started pouring the rain, a downpour. But the people did come out, and that minute video is the march in Fannin County. Members of church members, everybody came out. I mean, everybody was packed. They walked down the street. They marched together in solidarity up to the school to voice their concerns about transgender bathroom. I'm going to get Sam Snyder in here. He's a candidate for 7th District. I just wanted 3 more minutes, and then we're going to take another brief break and get him in here. But let me just say this. Okay, first of all, the video of 3 hours of citizens. Now, I'm not knocking news sources out there, but you know, Fox 5 and Channel 2 and all of them, they're going to go back and they're going to cut sensational parts, and they're going to cut passionate words, and they're going to cut things for the best viewership and the best excitement they can create. We are uploading now. It should be on by the time the show's over. 3 hours, uncut, unedited, of all of the citizens' comments. Now, you probably won't want to watch all 3 hours at one time, but you should. You should take the time to go and listen to the students. 2 things I want to say. Mr. Bearden of the school board said he would not go home until everybody that wanted to speak had an opportunity. Usually public comments for the Board of Education are limited to 30 minutes. They gave 3 hours. And he made sure that people in the gymnasium, I want to give some credit here on some things. There was maybe 1,000 people in the cafeteria, but there was that many, if not more, in the gymnasium that they were playing a simulcast over in the gymnasium for people to watch. Mr. Bearden said, go to the gymnasium and tell them they are welcome to come over and speak. That was awesome. That meant a lot to me that he opened that up, not just at the cafeteria. If you were there last night and you wanted to say something, they gave you a chance. And we have the uncut version of 3 hours. You should listen to the students that came forward, that spoke. You should listen to every one of them. It was great. That will be up on fetchyournews.com and on our YouTube page. 2 things I want to bring up that were not answered by the county attorney last night. One, if you left there last night, you would think maybe this was happening in the high school. Okay? Now, this is something we can't put enough time into. You would think this was happening in the high school. Sources tell us this is in the 2nd grade. Now, I am going to have a hard time believing a 2nd grader is really having an identity problem. I'm going to have a hard time with that. But we're understanding this is happening in the 2nd, 4th, or 5th grade. Okay, a gentleman got up and spoke last night, Mr. Fletcher, and he said that studies show that children, now this won't get reported on the mainstream media, but children that seem to be concerned with their identity in grade school, that show an identity issue in grade school, 98% of them return to their biological identity by time high school comes. Okay, so now I'm just an old guy. So when we showed up at the baseball field and there was 9 of us guys and 2 girls showed up because they thought they could play baseball, I hope I don't get thrown off the air at the end of my show for this. We call them tomboys. Now, I know I just got everybody all upset, okay? But I'm going to tell you what. There's a couple times where those tomboys around the 4th and 5th grade, by the time they got in the 11th and 12th grade, things were not the same. Okay, I don't know. I just said something maybe I shouldn't have. But let me tell you what did not get answered yesterday. How long has this been going on? How long has this been kept a secret from the public? Have the teachers been forced to support this against their will? Rumors say that. Mark Henson said it hasn't happened. Okay, but how long has it gone on? Were they trying to keep it quiet? Were some people trying to keep it quiet? Why didn't the county attorney call down to the House of the State House and say, hey, we need a law like North Carolina. We got a problem in our bathrooms. We do have the Speaker of the House. See, there's a lot of questions they did not answer. And let me tell you the biggest question they did not answer: the public. See, the public came out and said, stop it, and stop it today. And the public came out and said, it's not a matter of the money. And the public came out and said, if you will stand, we will stand by you. Yes, sir. They said, see, that's not going to get reported. The public said, if you will stand, we will stand by you. I heard it for 3 hours. We will find a way to get the money. We will stand up to the government with you. If you do not, we will put new people in place. We will put a new board in place over and over. We will put a new superintendent. We will put a new county attorney. Board of Education attorney in place. But we will stand with you if you make the tough decision. My question today in Fannin County Schools: will you listen to the people? The people. We the people. The thousands that came out. That overwhelmingly. Yes, there were some transgender people that stood up and spoke. Yes, there were some gay and lesbian people that stood up and spoke. Yes, they were there. But just like, hey, 3,000 kids to 2? Folks, will they take that child to a teacher's lounge bathroom this morning, or will they take that child to a bathroom of the gender identity they choose? Will they listen to the people today? That'll be the question. Hey, I've got to go. I'm getting deep into this. I'm going to have about 40 minutes with Sam Snyder. He's a candidate for Georgia House of Representative, District 7. So we'll take a brief break. I didn't mean to go long, but we're going to have him in here for about 40 minutes, right up to 10 o'clock. So, folks, when we come back from this commercial, get everybody, tell them to tune in to FetcherNews.com and check out this next interview with Sam Snyder. Lonnie, take us to break.
I'm Sheriff Dane Kirby, and I'll stand up for you.
I'm Stacy Nicholson, Sheriff of Gilmer County, and I will stand up for you.
Stand up and speak out. No matter how rich, cool, talented you believe yourself to be, how you treat people ultimately tells all. I am Allison Sosby, District Attorney, and I'll stand up for you.
Better days ahead. Truck Month is back at your new Days Chevrolet in Jasper with savings up to $8,000 off MSRP. Right now, get a roomy new Chevy Equinox for just $23,200, or get Days max discount on a new Silverado Crew Cab, just $31,900, plus instant easy credit with Days Fast Track Credit Center. But these Truck Month savings won't last long. Get to Days Chevrolet in Jasper, where Chevy cars and trucks cost less.
Better days ahead, Days Chevrolet.
Find new roads.
North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds. Come on in to view the area's largest selection of fine jewelry at North Georgia Diamond. All repairs and designs are done on site by our jewelers. And North Georgia Diamond has the lowest prices on loose diamonds. You can also sell your gold, silver, and coins at North Georgia Diamond between Walmart and Lowe's in East Ellijay. Locally owned by Bill and Allison Craig, North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds in North Georgia.
Save big on service at Schadenkirk. Get a full service oil change for only $29.99. That's right. Get an oil and filter change, tire rotation, brake check, AC check, and multi-point inspection, all for just $29.99.
Give us a shot at Schadenkirk.
Get the $29.99 oil change special at Schadenkirk Ford or any of our convenient locations in the heart of Georgia.
As Bentley says, give us a shot at Schadenkirk.
Online at SchadenkirkAtlanta.com.
And we're back on BKP Good Morning from the Office, North Georgia's only live online morning show. Now, before we start, I want everyone to know all candidates in every race have been invited to come and sit down. Now, I have done a series called Camera Candidates and Issues, where I invite both candidates to sit down at the same time and participate in a debate. So just to let everybody know out there, Mr. David Ralston was invited this morning, and his campaign declined to be here, but he was invited. I'm here with 7th District candidate Sam Snyder. Mr. Snyder, how are you doing this morning?
I'm doing good. My name is Sam Snyder, and I'm asking for your vote, District 7 House of Representatives. I know Brian will remind me to ask for your vote again, but I just want to make clear I definitely am asking for your vote.
Well, and I'm asking for actually everybody out there and yourself to pull me through. I went to bed about 1:45 this morning. I was fielding phone calls last night, and I was trying to work on some video. And folks, you guys are sending messages left and right. So I'm going to try to stay focused. And what's upsetting to me is I pride myself on being focused. And so every once in a while when I get off target, it bothers me if I'm not focused. That being said, the question I get most with you is there's a lot of different questions, but the question I think I get most is, why are you running? I mean, I get that most. Why are you running for this office?
My son Joshua was able to help explain that to someone, because I'm not actually a person who likes the limelight. I try to push my other coaches forward, push the wrestlers to the limelight when I've coached all these years, and grateful for all the success we had. But 2 years ago, a little over 2 years ago, I became aware that the politics in the House of Representatives were not what I consider equal representation. And I felt it was time, with the situation in our country, to me, seeming to go down, to step up as a citizen of this community and offer an alternative. And so, as an amateur 2 years ago, we ran, and we did quite well. And I've learned a lot since then, and the concerns I had back then of taxes being increased, religious freedom bills, 2 of those being blocked the last 2 years. Some of the campaign promises were not kept, and so I said, if the campaign promises of cutting taxes and cutting regulation and equal representation were not met, that I would definitely run again. And I think we have not just a problem from 2 years ago, I think we have a worse problem from 2 years ago. As we see on the national level, there's unrest. There's great frustration with established politicians, and I think it's time that we take our country back. I think it's time we take our state back, and we send people who are simply citizens working in our community to represent us, and that's why I'm running.
Well, when you say, in some ways, it's worse than the last time you ran, what itemize some things that you think are worse in your eyes than the last time you ran?
We could begin with the Religious Freedom Bill. That was put forth and passed in the Senate in 2015 and 16 and brought to the House, and neither time was it voted on. Even Sam Teasley brought it to the House specifically and dropped the bill, and it wasn't voted on. So we then received a pastor protection bill that got 161 out of 180 votes. And that's awesome, but it only protects pastors, and I, as a pastor myself at the Word Church, I don't even need protection. My ability to decide who I would marry or not marry is up to me as a pastor, because it's really a judge who determines the marriage license. And so I thought that was kind of a smokescreen. Well, I just don't appreciate being told that a person supports religious freedom while blocking the very bill that is identical to what was from 1993 on the federal level. So RFRA was a problem for me. And then the bill we got, instead of 161 votes like we got for pastor protection, we got 104. And then all we needed was 15 more. 10 people had been excused from the vote, and the speaker hadn't voted, which he normally doesn't unless it's needed to put something over the top. So the other 15 votes, could they not have been found? Could we not have went to session for another day and overrode Governor Deal's veto? That was that was difficult for me. And then the second one is obviously $830 million to $1 billion is the estimated amount that was increased for the transportation, through the Transportation Act. The DOT went from a $2 billion budget to a $3 billion budget. Their own website says it's a $1 billion tax increase. And yet my opponent campaign said he's cut taxes. If spending went from $23 billion to over $24.7 billion next year, and $1 billion of new taxes, how is that a tax cut? I just want people to be honest. They're saying lies that I am against hunting. My sons have hunted since they were 10 years old. I hunted since I was 12.
Where do they get that? I mean, where do they get that? Because
they
what
get
is
that.
the difference? I tell you what, do this for me. And tell me the difference in the voters out there, constitutional carry. What is the difference? What do you actually support in legislation? And where do they actually come to and arrive at that you're against?
Correct.
Somebody hunting with their dad or grandfather?
There are two ways that we need to look at this. First of all, where do I stand? At 12 years old in Missouri, I got my hunter safety course. I was able to start hunting. My dad at 13 years old purchased me my own .22 rifle for Christmas. I still remember getting up and finding that and excited about it. And I would go hunting squirrels with my cousins prior to that in Iowa when we would visit. So we've always hunted. I'm not an avid deer hunter, but I remember taking my sons to Randy Durden's home, and he has some property there, and I was with my youngest son, David, in the tree stand when he killed his first deer, and Randy had the opportunity to hunt with Joshua. So we've been a hunting family. My son Joshua's got a carry license, and I think that the constitutional Second Amendment to carry is vital. We keep chopping away at it, and we're having to rebuild our rights for that. And this is to go on to the second answer. Well, with the first answer, I have the right to carry a weapon, but another person has property rights. And so we have to find legislation to, let's say that, well, the state capitol doesn't want guns in the state capitol unless you're a policeman. So there are still some places where we can't carry, but a true constitutional carry right would be able to carry anywhere. And so, of course, we Nathan Deal vetoed the campus carry. And I would think a 21-year-old with a carry license should be able to carry their gun for their safety on college campus. Now, where did it all begin against me? January 22nd was a Friday. We had just won the state championship the Friday and Saturday before in Macon, and we were getting ready for the next state championship. And I was looking, as the session was beginning, I was looking for bills that are constitutional carry and that would reduce fees. One of the gun owner folks, one of the gun rights guys said, hey, y'all look, check out this bill. It does take away the fee. And so I put a link on there and I said, I am for constitutional carry. Check this link. That's all I put. And so people looked at that. And then I filed down through there. I read that it got rid of the fee. Good. But then I read that it allowed for hunting to be limited. And so I immediately talked to, through email, the sponsor of that bill. And I said, sir, why does this limit hunting for teenagers? And he said, we're early in the session, we're going to remove that part. I said, well, until you remove that, I can't honor that. I can't go with HB 543. Can't do it.
But it did say that. So are you saying that you would make sure, let me make sure I'm hearing this correctly, that at first glance it looked good. But if you were elected and there's a bill sitting in front of you on your table where your designated area is and it's laid there, you would read through it carefully before you vote, though?
I would always read through before I vote, and always carefully. And luckily, because there's so many bills, there's about 20 men in the House right now who have made a union together, and they all work together to read the bills because there's so many that flood them at the end, and they work as a combination. On that bill, as I read it, I realized it limits things that I would never limit. So I'm totally opposed to HB 543. And my Facebook post for the months following that continued to say I'm against HB 543. I am for hunting by teenagers. I'm going to take my grandson hunting. I just purchased about a month ago my first Glock. I need to have a handgun to go with my shotguns and different things that I own. But it's very frustrating when a fake website is brought up and one little post is put on the fake website, and then my opponent takes ads to refer to the fake website as if it's me, and it's got my name, my picture, and we're doing everything we can. We're going to the courthouse today to try to get that website pulled down. It's going to take a subpoena because you can do this in a way that hides the identity of the people that did it. But it just so happens it's managed by the same group that manages my opponent's website. So we're doing everything we can to end this lie, but how can people believe that a 30-year public educator is against public education? It's not true. And so this thing on the hunting, I look forward to continue to fight for our Second Amendment rights, hold on to them as precious as they are, and time with your grandpa with a 15-year-old and a 13-year-old and a 14-year-old out hunting, that's vital. I love the time I have in the woods with my sons. I just hate that we use half of what's actually there to bring about a lie against someone who's been in this community for 40 years.
Well, let's go another direction.
Yes, sir.
Let's go another direction here. There was a lot of time in transportation studies, a lot of time in public hearings, transportation studies. A lot of time was put into that, and they did pass the transportation bill. Now it changes the excise tax. I do not want to try to explain it because to me it's confusing. But at the end of the day, it did raise taxes. It did raise taxes. Now, I, for one, am not, maybe there's a time when $30 more a year per person, if you're getting the value, is worth it. I don't know. So I'm just going at that direction. Do you not think they needed to do something where transportation was concerned? And do you not think some of that is really benefiting North Georgia?
I think that making it a level income flow was better than a fluctuating one. But it was still a consumption tax. Prior to this latest bill, it was a 7%. Only problem is DOT only got 3 of the 7%. The 4th% had been stolen by the normal budget and not given to DOT. And the other 3% was already going to the regular budget. So yes, there was a need for it not to be a fluctuating amount. So they made an excise, 26 cents for gas and 29 cents for diesel. But if you think about 7% on $2 a gallon gas is 14 cents. 26 cents on $2 gas is still 26 cents. So it's almost double the amount of money going in there. The DOT is, our politicians pride themselves on saying that 8,000 jobs were removed from the DOT in the past 6 years. Well, they didn't just disappear. Those people went and became pavers and contractors and became private businessmen, which is a good thing. So we've reduced the entire staff of DOT by a large amount. But those people are still being paid and they're on the payroll, except they're now getting it through DOT bids. And so then I follow that link around to ethics and I look to see who has been giving funds to my opponent, who has been giving funds to establishment politicians. The same people who left the roll call, the financial roll call of DOT, are now on it in the other side. And so to keep that money flowing, they put it over there and they give money to my opponent. And that's their right to do that. But DOT had to go up 50% when we were 13th in the country on our roads, and our roads compared to South Carolina are much better, and Tennessee is much better. Our roads are doing pretty good. Yes, we need to continue to work on infrastructure, but we created a problem. We created an emergency that wasn't an emergency. And instead of just simply making more money, like a $5 hotel motel tax is added that my wrestling team had to pay for every time we traveled this past year, that cost people on the border of different states another $5 for only a $50 room is a 10% increase, and $50 to $100 for each vehicle that's on the road, and it cost our bus garage $7,500 more this year. Those taxes are real money that's coming out of our pockets. So it was not a simple thing of just, hey, we'll give $1 billion more to solve the road problem. Why didn't we just cut some other things in the state budget that's went up $5.4 billion in the last 6 years and give some of that money over to DOT, or give back some of the 7% that we began with? I'm not opposed to being a set amount per gallon. But this idea that we've got to keep raising taxes is insane. And to think that we can say it's a tax cut, we've cut spending. How do you go from $23 billion to $24.7 billion and say you cut spending? You didn't.
Okay, we're going to take a brief break, and when we come back, we're going to look at several more things and issues in the 7th District. I'm here with candidate for State House 7th District for Georgia, Sam Snyder. Lonnie, take us to break.
Collins can't defend his own record, what does he do? He tries to divert our attention from his record, and he's diverting it onto Paul Brown. He is refusing to stand up and talk to us about his record. He wants to talk to us about Windstream. Any congressman that's sitting up there is going to try to help the people with their issues with Windstream. Any congressman sitting up there is going to try to help their people when the Corps of Engineers changes the rules on pulling water out to water your grass. Any congressman will do that. But will any congressman go up there and vote against omnibus bill? Will any congressman go up there and stand for the 9th District instead of standing for Washington? Will any congressman go up there and tell Washington what the 9th District wants instead of coming back here and telling us why Washington has to have his way? I'll tell you, no, not just any congressman will. Let Doug Collins come back and sit down and get out of our hair.
This is Mike Scoopine, and I approve this message.
Paid by Scoopine for Congress.
Trust. Round here, we trust people who get things done. Like our state representative, David Ralston. He's cut taxes and balanced the state budget every year. And Ralston delivers. New roads, new jobs, a new university, and the toughest immigration laws in America. Those Washington guys talk big, but never deliver. Round here, we trust David Ralston. Ralston gets it done.
Doug Collins has been a bad representative for the 9th District.
How bad is it?
Doug is such a bad representative that he won't even represent himself against his challengers for the 9th District seat. Well, that's pretty easy to understand. After all, showing up to defend a record like Doug's is a pretty tall order. Since taking office, Doug has voted with the House leadership over 90% of the time. Doug voted for Boehner for Speaker twice. He voted to spy on you, to bail out Wall Street banks in advance of the next crisis, to train Islamic radicals to take down foreign governments that pose no threat. Doug voted for the Omnibus, voted to fund every Title X Planned Parenthood appropriation, and then has the nerve to try to sell you that he did not vote to fund abortion. If you want a representative who will work tirelessly to undo every wrong Doug Collins has done against the will of the 9th District, vote for Mike Scoopine, a proven leader protecting the U.S. Constitution.
It's Mike Scoopine, and I approve this message.
Paid by Scoopine for Congress.
In 2015, our Gilmer County Probate Court heard over 1,300 criminal cases, 250 estate and guardianship matters, and probated or administered 110 plus wills. Those are very serious issues, and experience matters. We talked about the fact that every county with more than 96,000 people has a licensed attorney as their probate judge. The state requires it. They don't hear different cases. They don't hear different matters, and I don't believe that the due process you receive when you go to the probate court should be based off the county you live in. You want to have a judge who's been there, who's been on the other side of the bench, who's argued that, who knows it, and who can help you. Because compassion isn't always just about being able to listen, but it's being able to do something when you do listen. Experience matters, and I will use my experience in my private practice, in the U.S. Attorney's Office, and in 2 judges' chambers for the people of Gilmer County.
With early voting starting May the 2nd and the primary beginning on May the 24th, you'll be voting to elect leaders to several offices here in Fannin County. When it comes to the Chief Magistrate, you need someone that demonstrates honesty, integrity, and experience. Since being appointed by the Superior Court judges, I've made it my passion to uphold the same values and principles as the Honorable Judge before me. Whether it is answering the call when our community needed me or operating under budget during my term as Chief Magistrate, it's clear that throughout my 11 years of experience, I have always had Fannin County's best interests at heart. So this May, vote for the right choice. Vote for honesty, integrity, and experience. Vote to keep Sherry Walker.
And we're back. I'm BKP. Good morning from the office, North Georgia's only live online morning show. And my guest this morning is candidate for Georgia State House 7th District, Sam Snyder. Mr. Snyder, now let's get into campaign finance. Let's get into a couple things here. Let's discuss that. I know many people have sent me messages on the David Ralston's campaign finance. But the Georgia Government Transparency and Campaign Finance Commission, you've got a couple fines there.
Paid this morning. Thank you.
You paid your fines this morning?
Yes. What happened was there was no notification, but I saw that it was posted on Facebook. I immediately went online this morning and paid the late fee. I think it was for June 2014.
There's one. Let me get those for the public because I have them. So we're clear on it. 12/13/2014. There was one for $125, and then 6/30/2015.
Yes, both
$125.
those two were not brought up until today. It was actually last night. I saw it on a Facebook post. So I paid those this morning. Contacted, I believe her name is Maria, and also D'Angelo.
Even the one for
that's resolved. If you'll look that one up, it's gone. What happened was that I had to file into a new account, and they didn't transfer my data. So I talked to Maria Belize this morning. I've actually got the email here where she's paid for that. Not paid for it, but took it off because it was already filed March 31st. But when they changed it to the other number, they didn't move it over, so it did an automatic fee. I have an email from her that she's taken that off. All fees are taken care of. I was a few days late back in 2014 and 2015. Got those settled, $125 a piece, settled this morning, paid for. There are no liens or fines on me finance whatsoever. You have to look it up again. You'll see it's all gone.
Okay, so anything that has to do with that, all the fines are taken care of?
Yes, and I think they must come. It must be a certain time of the year they come back and look at those because I have never had a fine until yesterday. I've never had a fee until yesterday. And once I found out about it, I went ahead and paid it, took care of it. And the one that was just a mistake between two different numbers, it was solved immediately.
AJC, sometimes I'm cautious with using them as a reference.
Right.
But AJC has done a pretty tough story this morning on House Speaker Ralston's, what they're calling secret political fund. Have you read that article?
Yes, happen to have the article with me.
Well, what's your take?
My take is that the man stands up there, and 2 years ago, people were concerned because they said, Sam Snyder, it's not just him running. There's people from outside that are upset with David Ralston. Well, those people didn't manage my campaign last time, but I listened. And what I figured out is you want people from Gilmer and Fannin and one section of Dawson. You want those folks to represent. So my campaign fund this year has come up from people who are in this district. Now, it's $10,000, $12,000 what we raised, and we're spending it. Well, if you look at my opponents, 4% of his came from this district, and 96% came from outside the district. So the $500,000 he's raised since July of last year, look at on the ethics and find out where it comes from. Who's paying for his campaign? And then we find out about this fund, this secret fund that was made as a conservation fund. And once you receive over $50,000, you have to file. You have to file with Georgia Ethics. You have to file as a campaign company. And when you spend more than $25,000 of that fund, you have to file. Well, both those things have happened. And this AJC article, the over $60-something thousand this past year has not been filed. And company would give $1,500 to his campaign fund under ethics that had to be filed. Then they give another $10,000 over here in this fund that wasn't being filed. You want to talk about dark money and dirty politics? I have run this campaign that I have off the backs of the people who love me and support me. My own mother and father gave another $1,000 just to fight these lies that are on TV about me and on the radio saying that I don't support hunting. Campaign finance has to be changed. These incumbents are entrenched with hundreds of thousands of dollars, sometimes $1 million, to run against an honest man who's just trying to come and represent, and we can't pay for the airtime that he has. There's no way. And sound bites out there that are lies about a website that I didn't even make that has my name and picture on it. We've got to do something about campaign finance because my opponent smiles and says that he's all for campaign finance reform, and then we see here this morning, he's got a secret fund over here, over $67,000 in it that he can use whatever he wants. No accountability. Let's just get the truth of it.
I'm seeing this.
Yes.
It's the Ralston Conservative Leadership
And look
Fund.
who runs it. A person who lives in Blue Ridge who also manages what DOT things are done for Blue Ridge. The same person runs that conservative fund. And she's supposed to be the one who's helping to handle DOT projects in Fannin County. A little bit of a conflict of interest, wouldn't you say? You have to search deeper to find out who that person is. I'm not going to say it on the air.
Well, the person are you talking about Emily Dunn?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I said on the air because I have not researched this, but I wouldn't care to say if you're going to bring up the person that handles transportation in North Georgia or transportation. I know who she is.
And then she handles an unaccountable fund, a conservative fund.
I hadn't had time to research that. So you're telling me
look in the article, AJC.
She handles this fund.
Emily Dunn is the one who treasures
the Ralston
that.
Conservative Leadership
Yes,
Fund.
sir. She's the one listed under the contacts.
And what you're telling me this morning, because folks, I have not had time to research this, but what you're telling me this morning is you can donate to his campaign fund
up to $2,600 per person for each cycle.
And then you can turn around and donate here.
Whatever you want into that fund, and they're supposed to file that. But since it's a 527 fund, it doesn't have to go through all the areas until it reaches a certain amount. Well, it's reached that amount, and they haven't filed the ethics at all. And people can give to him, support him. We're talking about Pfizer stock. We're talking about hospitals. We're talking about contractors. We're talking about people who want things done in Washington that don't even live in this county, don't even live in this district, giving money around here in a back way to help out the representative we now have.
Okay, all right. Let's just say this. All right, let's go there with what short time we have. Let's say this. Okay, now for argument's sake, he is the Speaker of the House.
Yes.
Okay. Now, a lot of times I hear speeches and discussions about what the district could lose if we don't have the Speaker of the House. So let's go over a couple things. There has been North Georgia College, the college. There's been money for ball fields. There's been Atlanta Gas and Light. There has been things, widening of Highway 5. There has been things take place in the 7th District, okay, that if maybe you're the representative, do they forget about us down in Atlanta? I mean, I guess where I'm going is it that important to be the Speaker of the House? Or if, just to say it like this, if the people trade and say, hey, we want Sam Snyder, where's that leave the 7th District? Let's stay there for a minute.
Let's start with the gas light. I've got the line running by my house that they put in a couple of years ago, and it doesn't feed my house. It only feeds the chicken houses on my road, which is a good thing that they're feeding the chicken houses of natural gas. But I, as a consumer, don't get the benefit of that. And yet I had to deal with all the construction that occurred over a year-long period. That's fine. Speaker of the House, 2010 until 2014, where was he? What did we get then? Let's go back to 2014. When was it announced that $540,000 went to the ball field? A week before the election. When was it announced that $1 million showed up for a North Georgia college? A week before the election. Would any of that happen had I not run? Let's just be honest about it. It was a campaign ploy. And even this Saturday, we're going out to ball fields to celebrate the $540,000 given 2 years ago. That wasn't given to us by David Ralston. That's our tax money. Our tax money. It's just like a politician to say, I took your tax money and I gave it back to you as a gift. No, sir. It's our money. So we should work hard in the House of Representatives to make sure all 180 representatives districts are covered and that money is distributed equally, not for pandering politics because you agree with someone and you want to get reelected, but it should be equally distributed to the needs. And if you look at the next 18 months on the DOT, there's only one project in Fannin. There's a traffic light in Gilmer and one paving project in Gilmer for the next 18 months. So we waited 16 years in Fannin County for Highway 5 to be widened. 16 years. You really think it's going to happen tomorrow night? It's another campaign situation. We're using people's tax dollars to prop up and support career politicians to keep them in office. And then where do we see them after that? They're not representing us. They're representing the people who gave them money in Atlanta.
So are you telling folks that if elected, that you feel that you could represent them and they won't see a difference in North Georgia and they won't be able to say in 6 months, oh, well, we used to have a Speaker of the House and Now we don't, so North Georgia is suffering or something. I mean, I don't know where I'm going with
North
this.
Georgia won't suffer. We have to end the type of politics that pulls money out of somebody's district because they just don't agree with the governor on something, which happened to Josh McCoons, and $10 million pulled out of his district by a line-item veto after the session. 100,000 more taken out last week. We've got to stop that kind of bully politics. Now, if you just want a politician that's going to go down there and just get all they can for us, and just bankrupt the rest of the state, all right, then you need somebody else. If you want someone who will go down there and fight for what we already gave them in tax dollars to be returned to our county and our district to take care of our roads and take care of the things that we need in the services, I will always do that. I will fight for us, but I'll also fight for other issues that are also vital here. Religious freedom is an issue. Equal representation in the House is an issue. It should not be ruled by one person and we just happen to get a gift come election time. We should have continuous reflection in our county of what we have sent in tax dollars to be returned. It should be for the good of our county, and every representative, me included, when I'm down there, will be able to fight for those kind of things, and I will fight hard for our county. If we can bypass the lies that have been put out there about me and we can look at the truth, I'm a representative that represents you.
Let me ask you a question. Last night I seen, I'm going to use the number of 2,000
There was a lot of people. Yes, sir,
All
Brian.
right, I'm going to use, and this is the issue today, folks, and it's national.
Huge.
I seen about 2,000 people last night in Fannin County, right there in the district you're running for. So if you're the representative, would you fight for those people that were there last night? Now, hear it from me, and I'm always careful, Mr. Snyder. I'm always careful with not getting my personal feeling into it, but I
Right.
was there. And I was 30 foot away from what I call passion for 3 hours of
Yes.
citizens, okay?
Yes.
And I have it on the video and I talk about that. I want our representative to represent that school board because they're citizens. I want our
Yes.
representative to represent the attorney, the county Board of Education attorney. But what I think the people want is, I want to hear, would you represent those 2,000 people? Would you go to distance, even if it wasn't popular, to maybe introduce a bill that had something that had something that dealt with transgender bathrooms? I mean, I know that's an issue that has come up late in this campaign.
Yes.
But it's here.
But this issue has been here all year. It's just those who knew didn't bring it up until right before the campaign. That's the problem. This issue didn't happen yesterday, 2 weeks before school's out. This issue's been here. Now let's talk about it from this standpoint. At no point should any child ever be discriminated against, ever, any child. But in the same light, if that one child feels like they may be a transgender student, the other thousands of students should not also be trampled as far as their rights to be able to go to a restroom. Now, I don't know about you, but I can remember being in middle school, and it would have terrified me to think that that a girl was walking into a boy's restroom. And I can't imagine if my granddaughter, when she enters school at some point, if she's going to the restroom, what she would think about having a boy in the bathroom with her. That's common sense. That one's not complicated whatsoever. So I felt the heartbeat of those folks last night. I thought that Anthony Walden especially did a fantastic job of passionately saying where we stand in this district. We have beliefs that we stand upon. Now, if Washington wants to continue to push down our throats a transgender or decision about that, thinking that Title IX refers to that, then that's another reason why the Department of Education on the federal level needs to be gone. Local and state people need to be in control of these things. But that does not mean we would ever harm or disenfranchise or in any way discriminate against any child, because there are kids going through very difficult things throughout the school. But it doesn't have to go over to say that now she or he, wonderful child that they may be, can just enter the bathroom of their choice that is opposite of what they were born as. That's not a difficult question. We're in our society of going down that long road. It's a terrifying way to go, but that's an easy one to answer. Yes, I would definitely support, as your representative, legislation to make sure that all children's privacy is protected.
Well, thank you very much. We've only got 5 minutes left here before we have to close today. And don't forget, folks, stay tuned right after this for North Georgia's only live online morning newscast, The Morning Report with Kevin Hensley. Mr. Snyder, thanks for coming in. Why don't you wrap it up for us today and give us whatever final statement you'd like to make.
Thank you very much. My name is Sam Snyder. I am asking for your vote this week, Saturday, all the way through May 24th, next week and the week after, May 24th. I have been a 40-year member of this community. I came here in 1977. My father became a veterinarian in his late 30s. He decided to go to college after having no college prior to that in Columbia, Missouri, and got a college degree in veterinary medicine. And he helped to eliminate bangs and brucellosis in the cow population of North Georgia. Worked himself out of a job, actually. Then became the head of the importation center in Key West, and then also became the head over Missouri, and then came back and retired at 80 years old, lives up above me in a house that we were able to build for him. With his money, he just helped me to build it. And my mother, same thing. Wonderful person. Worked many jobs to keep me and my two sisters going, and has given me a legacy of hard work. That hard work came into a wrestling state championship myself in 1981, the first wrestling state champion for our county. Went on to college, got a bachelor's, a master's, a specialist, have taught in this school system for 25 years. Led our wrestling program to 17 state championships. That's unheard of. Pulling people together for a common purpose. And the people in this community, they know me. They know my reputation as a pastor for the last 3 years. They know my reputation as a coach and a teacher. And don't believe lies. Don't believe fake websites. Don't believe ads that try to say that I'm against hunting. I am not against hunting. I will support your Second Amendment rights. My sons and I will continue to hunt, and my grandchildren will learn how to hunt, because hunting is a part of a way of life that we have here. So pass the word. Sam Snyder is for hunting. And secondly, I'm for public education, and I'm for educational choice by parents. Parents locally and state control, state, local, and parent control always of education, because our children are precious. And as a 30-year public educator, I am for education, and I am for public education. It was brought up on the website about privatization. We privatize who mows our fields. We privatize our custodial staff. There's things that private industry can do in education, but we're not going to take public education and make it private. It's not going to happen. People who want private education have a choice. They can send their money to a private school, Christian school. We've got great Christian schools in this community. I need your vote. I need your support. I need you to spread the truth that I, who you've known for your entire time here, some of y'all have known me my entire 40 years when I was bagging groceries at Thrift Town for Charlie Waters, when I was working at Permacelt Mill for Carl Hill, when I was loading wood at Kiker Supply. I've done all these things in this community. You know me. You know who I am. And I honestly am asking for your vote, and I will represent you with truth and honesty. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Snyder. As we tell all the candidates, no matter who they are, when they come in here, we say thank you very much from FetcherNews.com. We wish you well, and we appreciate your willingness to serve your community.
Appreciate it, Brian.
Before we close here, don't forget, up next, Kevin Hensley, The Morning Report, North Georgia's only live online morning newscast. So stay tuned after these brief messages. And, I want to make also clear that Mr. David Ralston was invited this morning. All candidates have been invited. We exclude no candidates here at FetcherNews.com. We believe in the process. We don't get involved in the money. We don't get involved or swayed in any way. It's the process and only the process that your host here believes in, and I feel all candidates should get the opportunity to ask for your vote. That being said, it's the end of our broadcast, and I promise Monday that I will smoke about a half dozen cigars, cheap cigars, between now and Monday, and I will relax, and I will come back rested and ready to tell you what I really think. Monday morning at 8 a.m. Good morning from the office. BKP, North Georgia's only live online morning show. Don't try that at home, kids. I mean, try going to the bathroom where you're supposed to. Lonnie, get us out of here.
My name is John Williamson, and I'm running as a candidate for the Georgia Senate in the 51st District, which includes the counties of Gilmer, Fannin, Union, White, Dawson, Lumpkin, and parts of Pickens and Forsyth counties. I'm a 34-year resident in Gilmer County. I've been married 40 years, have 6 children and 16 grandchildren. My serious interest in politics started several years ago with the co-creation of the local Tea Party of Gilmer County. And I've been attending the Board of Commissioners and Board of Education meetings, so I have an idea of the challenges that we face in rural Georgia. I want to talk to you today about my reasons for running for office. My first reason stems from my belief in the Republican values, the underlying Republican values that we all seem to ascribe to, which is low taxes, small government, fiscal responsibility. I have watched our incumbent, Senator Gooch, and the legislature in Georgia violate these principles over the last 6 years. Our senator ran on this platform that I just described 6 years ago. It has never been challenged, but last year he supported and led the largest tax increase in the state of Georgia. The second reason that I'm running is to provide better representation for our 51st District citizens regarding especially taxation and regulation. I want to use 3 illustrations of how our taxes have been increased effectively in the last few years. The first is the sales tax on our private sales of automobiles. How many of you have sold your automobiles to friends and family over the years, and now you have to pay a tax, 7% every time you do this? The second is the 20% tax penalty that we're paying to get our money back for road projects because we did not vote for the T-Splosh. That cost our county recently $100,000 just to get a road grant back. And third, we have the unfair $5 a night tax on hotels and motels, which is a real hurt to our industry, which really lives on tourism in many of our counties. Well, the third reason is, I promise, transparency and the willingness to admit mistakes in judgment. For instance, I have been interpreted that some of my comments, I guess my opponents have been wrong. For that, I apologize. On the other hand, has our senator ever admitted that perhaps the T-Splosh penalty was a poor idea? What about voting to prevent Georgians from obtaining eyeglasses over the internet? Did this serve his constituents' interests? Could it possibly be related to a campaign contribution by the Georgia Eyeglass Association? What about the need to license lactation consultants? Does grandma really need a license to teach her granddaughter to breastfeed? Aren't you offended when the politicians come back to the districts during elections with checks, road grants, and grants in their hand, posing for photographs? That's what they're supposed to be doing. That's why we elected them. That's their job. And second, that's our money they're bringing back to us. That's our money. Don't be fooled. Now, I have a vision for Georgia that includes solutions to some of our most pressing statewide problems. I want to leave the state in better shape for our grandchildren and their children. For instance, there are welfare and education reforms that have been demonstrated to work in other states, and we can do it here in Georgia. We also need to stop our state from traveling down the road of fiscal irresponsibility by adding such long-term debt. These are some of the issues I'd like to work on to secure the best future for our families in Georgia. I want to represent you. I'll be open to listening to your concerns and working with you in the Atlanta, Georgia Senate. Please check out my website for other issues that you may have questions about. It's Williamson 2016, and call me anytime. I'm John Williamson, and I'm running for the Senate seat in the 51st District to give you a choice and a voice. If I am your choice, I will be your voice in Atlanta. Please vote on May 24th.
Truck Month is back at your new Days Chevrolet in Jasper with savings up to $8,000 off MSRP. Right now, get a roomy new Chevy Equinox for just $23,200, or get Days max discount on a new Silverado Crew Cab, just $31,900, plus instant easy credit with Days Fast Track Credit Center. But these Truck Month savings won't last long. Get to Days Chevrolet in Jasper, where Chevy cars and trucks cost less.
Better days ahead, Days Chevrolet.
Find new roads.
What you gonna do with all that junk?
El Rey and Ellijay.
El Rey Mexican Restaurant.
Family owned and operated and a local favorite for families, parties, and meetings.
Great prices.
Friendly service and delicious Mexican cuisine.
Patio dining available.
Come sing in Carlos's Cantina every Friday 9 to 1.
Eat in or take away.
Same location for 14 years. Open 7 days at the corner of Maddox Drive and 515. North Georgia's favorite Mexican cuisine. El Rey and Ellijay.
North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds. Come on in to view the area's largest selection of fine jewelry at North Georgia Diamond. All repairs and designs are done on site by our jewelers. And North Georgia Diamond has the lowest prices on loose diamonds. You can also sell your gold, silver, and coins at North Georgia Diamond between Walmart and Lowe's in East Ellijay. Locally owned by Bill and Allison Craig, North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds in North Georgia.
Only Pizza Hut delivers 2 medium pizzas any way you want for just $6.99 each. Get any 2 freshly made pizzas with high quality, fresh ingredients and sauce made with California vine ripened tomatoes. Now get your favorite specialty recipes like meat lovers, backyard barbecue chicken, or 5-pepper pepperoni. So you never have to compromise with any quality toppings, any crust, any specialty. Anything you want on any 2 medium pizzas, just $6.99 each. Only at Pizza Hut.
I'm Sheriff Dane Kirby, and I'll stand up for you.
I'm Stacy Nicholson, Sheriff of Gilmer County, and I will stand up for you.
Stand up and speak out. No matter how rich, cool, talented you believe yourself to be, how you treat people ultimately tells all. I am Allison Sosby, District Attorney, and I'll stand up for you.
Hi, I'm Rhonda the Mattress Lady, and this is my husband Gary, owners of Mattress Overstocked in Ellijay next to Walmart. And we want to earn your business. From the time you walk in our door to the time we deliver your new mattress to your door, you will see the difference. Our selection and prices are the best in North Georgia, and customer service is our top priority. So y'all come on in and let us help you find the right mattress at the right price. That's Mattress Overstocked in Ellijay next to Walmart.
New Schottenkirk Ford in Jasper. Highway 515 South, Jasper. SchottenkirkFordJasper.com.
Board of Commissioners dabbles with the proposal of a motocross track in eastern Gilmer County, while a drug arrest in Pickens County and a would-be fugitive gets captured while swimming through Lake Lanier. All comes up on this edition of the Morning Report. Good morning. Today is Friday, May the 13th, 2016. I'm your anchor, Kevin Hensley. If you have any breaking news tips to send to us while we are on the air, our email address, of course, is show@fetchyournews.com. The Fannin County Board of Education held a 3.5-hour meeting last night. 2.5 of those hours were public comments about having transgender bathrooms in Fannin County schools. It was a standing room only crowd in the high school cafeteria. Even more people were in the gymnasium. Fannin Rebel TV, the high school television station, broadcast the meeting live to the people in the gymnasium. Around 40 people gave comments about their opinions on transgender bathrooms and about people who do not fit the traditional male-female gender identity. Except for attorney Ken Fletcher, everyone who spoke lived in Fannin County, had children in the school system, or went through the school system themselves. By the amount of people at the school board meeting, Fannin County sent a loud and clear message to the school board that they do not want transgender bathrooms in their schools. There were no counter-protesters outside the school board meeting or along the walk from the First Baptist Church to the Fannin County High School cafeteria. The school board meeting did open with an invocation from the pastor of World Harvest Church in McKaysville. Well, of course, the overwhelming theme of the 40-plus people who gave comments was about privacy and the safety of children. 4 people spoke on behalf of Fannin community members who do not fit the traditional male-female gender identity. Some high school and middle school students spoke at the meeting as well. 2 8th grade girls had the shortest and most simple comment about transgender bathrooms. It summed up what many parents said without a long explanation of Christian values or predictions of how government outreach will influence their private life. The girls said, quote, "I don't want to go to the bathroom and see a boy there," end quote. Anthony Walton, the organizer of the Fannin community members who disapprove of transgender bathrooms, spoke for about 15 minutes. He had several main points. 1 is that Christians have a right to freedom of speech. 2, if we allow gender bathrooms, the schools would be slipping into situations that are dangerous for kids. When Mr. Walton said, quote, "No amount of money can make this okay," end quote, there was huge applause from the audience. Attorney Ken Fletcher from the Alliance Defending Freedom revealed new information to the audience. His organization will be working with the school board for free to develop a bathroom policy. His idea is to have a school clinic or faculty private bathroom that is open only for transgender students. Fannin County Attorney Lynn Doss spoke to the Board of Education as well. She first cleared up some rumors that have been going around. She said that Fannin County schools do not have unisex bathrooms and that the school board is not voting on transgender bathrooms. Superintendent Mark Henson promised that everyone within the school system, from general staff to teachers to district administrators to the school board, do everything in their power to keep students safe. He promised that the school board will do its best to find a workable solution over the summer. He said absolutely no one's job has been threatened, and Mr. Henson also said that there have been absolutely no secret meetings of the school board about transgender bathrooms. Then Mr. Henson said what he personally will do about the situation. He said, quote, "I will resign before I let the school system fall apart," end quote. He then announced that the school system is purchasing the farmers market space next to the Swan Drive-In for $350,000 and will build a state-of-the-art agricultural center, something Fannin's agricultural programs has desperately needed for a long time. Also at the meeting, each school board member talked about the controversy during their comment time at the end of the meeting, which was around 9:20 p.m. last night. Steve Stanley promised Mr. Henson that, quote, "the cavalry is going to stay right where it is at," end quote. Sandra Mercier said that when she thinks about this controversy, she looks to her personal inspirational statement, which she has engraved on her bracelet. It says, quote, "God grant me the serenity to change what I can, accept what I can't, and the wisdom to know the difference," end quote. School Board Chairman Bobby Bearden said that he was the board member that told people he was in it to the end, meaning he would oppose transgender bathrooms until certain that the bathrooms would not come to Fannin County schools. Mr. Bearden was referring to 2 commenters' statements that they would call out the board member who promised to take it to the end. Well, Fetcher News is, of course, covering many angles on this story. Watch for stories about the march from First Baptist Church to Fannin County High School, more information about the Alliance Defending Freedom, why school system money is at stake, how House Speaker David Ralston is being proactive about keeping transgender bathrooms out of Fannin schools, the new agricultural center that the school system is getting, and how this controversy has affected school board members and Fannin County school employees, what organizer Anthony Walton thinks the next steps in his campaign to keep transgender students out of Fannin County schools will be as well. Well, look now at our local weather. It's 70 degrees this morning and the sun is back. At least for the weekend anyway. You can expect sunshine and cloud cover, but no more rain until Monday. That's right, your weekend at the lake will be looking at highs in the upper 70s and right around 80 degrees before sliding back down to 71 Sunday before the rain moves back in to start off our week Monday. Also coming up on today's show, we have election updates, spring football updates from both Gilmer and Pickens County, plus we'll spotlight our pet of the week from the Gilmer County Animal Shelter. However, after the break, the Gilmer County Board of Commissioners issues a ruling on a proposed motocross track in eastern Gilmer County. You're watching the Morning Report with Kevin Hensley.
Doug Collins can't defend his own record. What does he do? He tries to divert our attention from his record, and he's diverting it onto Paul Brown. He is refusing to stand up and talk to us about his record. He wants to talk to us about Windstream. Any congressman that's sitting up there is going to try to help the people with their issues with Windstream. Any congressman sitting up there is going to try to help their people when the Corps of Engineers changes the rules on pulling water out to water your grass. Any congressman will do that. But will any congressman go up there and vote against omnibus bill? Will any congressman go up there and stand for the 9th District instead of standing for Washington? Will any congressman go up there and tell Washington what the 9th District wants instead of coming back here and telling us why Washington has to have his way? I'll tell you, no, not just any congressman will. Let Doug Collins come back and sit down and get out of our hair.
This is Mike Scoopine, and I approve this message.
Paid by Scoopine for Congress.
Trust. Round here, we trust people who get things done. Like our state representative, David Ralston. He's cut taxes and balanced the state budget every year. And Ralston delivers new roads, new jobs, a new university, and the toughest immigration laws in America. Those Washington guys talk big, but never deliver. Round here, we trust David Ralston. Ralston gets it done.
Doug Collins has been a bad representative for the 9th District.
How bad is it?
Doug is such a bad representative that he won't even represent himself against his challengers for the 9th District seat. Well, that's pretty easy to understand. After all, showing up to defend a record like Doug's is a pretty tall order. Since taking office, Doug has voted with the House leadership over 90% of the time. Doug voted for Boehner for Speaker twice. He voted to spy on you, to bail out Wall Street banks in advance of the next crisis, to train Islamic radicals to take down foreign governments that pose no threat. Doug voted for the Omnibus, voted to fund every Title X Planned Parenthood appropriation, and then has the nerve to try to sell you that he did not vote to fund abortion. If you want a representative who will work tirelessly to undo every wrong Doug Collins has done against the will of the 9th District, vote for Mike Scoopine, a proven leader protecting the U.S. Constitution.
It's Mike Scoopine, and I approve this message.
Paid by Scoopine for Congress.
In 2015, our Gilmer County Probate Court heard over 1,300 criminal cases, 250 estate and guardianship matters, and probated or administered 110 plus wills. Those are very serious issues, and experience matters. You know, we talked about the fact that every county with more than 96,000 people has a licensed attorney as their probate judge. The state requires it. They don't hear different cases. They don't hear different matters, and I don't believe that the due process you receive when you go to the probate court should be based off the county you live in. You want to have a judge who's been there, who's been on the other side of the bench, who's argued that, who knows it, and who can help you. Because compassion isn't always just about being able to listen, but it's being able to do something when you do listen. Experience matters, and I will use my experience in my private practice, in the U.S. Attorney's Office, and in 2 judges' chambers for the people of Gilmer County.
With early voting starting May the 2nd and the primary beginning on May the 24th, you'll be voting to elect leaders to several offices here in Fannin County. When it comes to the Chief Magistrate, you need someone that demonstrates honesty, integrity, and experience. Since being appointed by the Superior Court judges, I've made it my passion to uphold the same values and principles as the Honorable Judge before me. Whether it is answering the call when our community needed me or operating under budget during my term as Chief Magistrate, it's clear that throughout my 11 years of experience, I have always had Fannin County's best interests at heart. So this May, vote for the right choice. Vote for honesty, integrity, and experience. Vote to keep Sherry Walker.
Welcome back to North Georgia's only live online morning news show, The Morning Report. I'm Kevin Hensley. Lengthy meetings were held by the Gilmer County Board of Commissioners this week, with both their work session and regular meeting taking place Wednesday and Thursday, respectively. Votes were split and the commissioners sat as several issues came under fire during this month's meetings. A very full meeting room waiting with anticipation for any speakers on the issue of a zoning request to implement a motocross track in the Big Creek area of Gilmer County. Several people spoke against the track in the work session, including Dr. Ginger Marine, a resident who spoke on the impact of the dirt and noise in the area from a previous track that was built in her area of the county, and Robert Collins, a Big Creek resident, who spoke about the environmental and community impact as a track would not be, quote, compatible with the area, end quote. Tensions mounted as Chairman Charlie Paris called for comments in the regular meeting. With no one to step forth in favor of the track, Chairman Paris noted he had not received this much communication over a singular issue in his service as Gilmer County Chairman, and he had not received one message in favor of the track. The commissioners voted unanimously to deny the request, and the Planning and Zoning Commission denied it as well. Later in the meeting, the commissioners went a step further to enact a moratorium on motocross tracks in Gilmer County. This was put in place in the county as it is moving completely overhauling its land use permits in the coming months. Citizens asked how to stay involved with the changes and how to put their own thoughts into the changes, to which Chairman Paris offered his email to continue the information exchange with those citizens and anyone who wanted to join in. Another issue rose in tension as the county commissioners began a process to regulate river usage in the unincorporated parts of Gilmer County, which is the county, of course, outside the city limits. Much of the resistance came from Woody Jansen and Philip Griffith, who spoke on how to enforce the regulation. They also stated that with enforcement, they believe the laws are already in place with trespassing and public drunkenness. They also stated that much of the trash issues in the river they already deal with themselves, as they collected several thousand pounds of trash in last year's cleanup process. Post 1 Commissioner at Dallas Miller stated the commissioners, quote, have an issue here, a conundrum, end quote, as he listened to the resistance of the regulation. With issues arising, the allusion was made about a few bad apples ruining the situation. As the motion came to adopt the first reader, the vote came to approve the first reader, which will send this issue back to next month's meeting for final consideration, as well as a public hearing to further delve into the public's concerns. Not all votes came in unanimously, however. Post Commissioner Dallas Miller came with the dissenting vote for a zoning request for a wedding venue, citing previous zoning issues where he also dissented due to his belief that the conditional use permits requested are not permitted under the ordinance. Another dissension came on the county's alcoholic beverages section of the code, an expected vote by many due to a well-documented opposition by Miller to the changes. However, Miller still states that though he votes on no issues in the county, he will continue to support the choices made by the Board of Commissioners as a whole. Check out more on this week's meeting and decisions made by the Board of Commissioners on fetchyournews.com, or follow the meeting's recordings yourself, as they will also be posted on our website. You'll find more issues such as the commissioners dealing with surplus equipment, the collection of tax on harvested timber, and an appointment to the Water and Sewer Board, plus much more. When we return to the morning report, a drug arrest, and a man is arrested after attempting to use Lake Lanier as a method to elude authorities. Plus, we bring you more news from around our community. Stay tuned.
Truck Month is back at your new Days Chevrolet in Jasper with savings up to $8,000 off MSRP. Right now, get a roomy new Chevy Equinox for just $23,200, or get Days max discount on a new Silverado Crew Cab, just $31,900, plus instant easy credit with Days Fast Track Credit Center. But these Truck Month savings won't last long. Get to Days Chevrolet in Jasper, where Chevy cars and trucks cost less.
Better days ahead, Days Chevrolet.
Find new roads.
What you gonna do with all that junk?
El Rey and Ellijay.
El Rey Mexican Restaurant.
Family owned and operated, and a local favorite for families, parties, and meetings.
Great prices.
Friendly service and delicious Mexican cuisine.
Patio dining available.
Come sing in Carlos's Cantina every Friday 9 to 1.
Eat in or take away.
Same location for 14 years. Open 7 days at the corner of Maddox Drive and 515. North Georgia's favorite Mexican cuisine. El Rey and Ellijay.
North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds. Come on in to view the area's largest selection of fine jewelry at North Georgia Diamond. All repairs and designs are done on site by our jewelers. And North Georgia Diamond has the lowest prices on loose diamonds. You can also sell your gold, silver, and coins at North Georgia Diamond between Walmart and Lowe's in East Ellijay. Locally owned by Bill and Allison Craig, North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds in North Georgia.
Only Pizza Hut delivers 2 medium pizzas any way you want for just $6.99 each. Get any 2 freshly made pizzas with high quality, fresh ingredients and sauce made with California vine ripened tomatoes. Now get your favorite specialty recipes like meat lovers, backyard barbecue chicken, or 5-pepper pepperoni. So you never have to compromise with any quality toppings, any crust, any specialty. Anything you want on any 2 medium pizzas, just $6.99 each. Only at Pizza Hut.
I'm Sheriff Dane Kirby, and I'll stand up for you.
I'm Stacy Nicholson, Sheriff of Gilmer County, and I will stand up for you.
Stand up and speak out. No matter how rich, cool, talented you believe yourself to be, how you treat people ultimately tells all. I am Allison Sosby, District Attorney, and I'll stand up for you.
Hi, I'm Rhonda Rhonda the Mattress Lady, and this is my husband Gary, owners of Mattress Overstocked in Ella next to Walmart. And we want to earn your business. From the time you walk in our door to the time we deliver your new mattress to your door, you will see the difference. Our selection and prices are the best in North Georgia, and customer service is our top priority. So y'all come on in and let us help you find the right mattress at the right price. That's Mattress Overstocked in Ella next to Walmart.
New Schottenkirk Ford in Jasper. Highway 515 South, Jasper. SchottenkirkFordJasper.com.
Welcome back to the Morning Report. I'm Kevin Hensley. The Pickens County Sheriff's Office made an arrest on Wednesday after a report of a speeding motorist. Following up on a lookout for the speeding motorist, Sergeant Travis Curran found the vehicle and made a traffic stop after noticing the registration was expired. The driver then gave Sergeant Curran consent to check the vehicle, and the methamphetamine and paraphernalia were found, leading to the arrest of Matthew Perrick from Atlanta. A Dawsonville man who tried to swim away from authorities after crashing his vehicle on Georgia 400 Monday is being held on a $3,140 bond in Forsyth County. 24-year-old Tyler O'Donnell ran his 2002 Dodge Dakota off the road at the Georgia 400 bridge between Bald Ridge Marina and Pilgrim Mill Road. But his plunge into Lake Lanier in an effort to elude police was unsuccessful. Forsyth County deputies on a nearby boat followed him to a small peninsula and took him into custody. O'Donnell has been charged with hit and run, failure to notify the owner upon striking a fixture, driving while license is suspended or revoked, and failure to maintain lane. And this is not his first brush with the law either. He has an extensive criminal history that includes theft, burglary, and drug-related charges. The Georgia State Patrol is currently handling the crash investigation. More than 50 community members gathered at Truett McConnell College Tuesday for the third annual White County Leadership Luncheon. The college took the time to thank the community for their support and update them on the activities going on at Truett McConnell's campus. Dr. Emir Kanner, the Truett McConnell College president, said during their 70 years of existence, community leaders have played a big part of that, saying, quote, "We wouldn't be here if it wasn't for some influential leaders 70 years ago," end quote. Kanner also told the crowd the college is gearing up for a very big weekend at the school, as 1,500 people are expected on campus for the graduation of 134 students, including the college's first master's graduate. Kanner also updated the group on the current United States Supreme Court challenge that the college and 6 other plaintiffs have before the court concerning government requirements to provide abortion-causing drugs and devices through their health provider. Kanner said, quote, "Things are looking good. The court has asked for a supplemental brief, which is very rare," end quote. He said no decision is expected on the ruling until the end of next month. Kanner then finished up by providing the leaders with an update on building projects on the campus, including the fountain and a new student wellness center. The Gilmer High School FFA chapter held its year-end awards banquet last night at Gilmer High School. The 3-hour ceremony saw virtually every member of the Gilmer organization receive recognition for their accomplishments throughout the 2015-16 school year. The ceremony concluded with the ceremonial hanging up of the blue corduroy jacket and speeches from each member of the senior class. Dawson County will be gaining 5 additional traffic signals this year. The new signals, recently proposed by the Georgia Department of Transportation and approved by the Dawson County Board of Commissioners, will be installed at the following locations: Highway 53 in front of CVS and Burger King, Dawson Village Way and Highway 53, Dawson Forest Road and Gordon Moss Road, Quill Drive and Highway 400, Carlisle Road and Whitmire Drive and Highway 400. Now, all of the new signals will be funded by private developers. The Dawson County government will be responsible for the electrical usage of all the traffic signals, which is expected to be less than $1,000 per year per signal. The installation of all 5 traffic signals will be completed by the end of 2016. The Dahlonega-Lumpkin County Chamber of Commerce and Visitors Bureau, in partnership with the Dahlonega Women's Club, will co-host a candidates forum tonight. The forum will be held at the Lumpkin County Parks and Recreation, which is located at 365 Riley Road in Dahlonega, and the event will get underway at 5:30 p.m. All candidates that have qualified to run in the May 24th general primary election are invited to participate. And speaking of election coverage, we do have the very best right here on FetchYourNews.com. And to stay tuned into the latest updates from around our area, you can click on our special button on our homepage titled Election 2016. When we come back here on the Morning Report, we'll take a look at our community calendar for this weekend. Stay tuned.
Doug Collins can't defend his own record. What does he do? He tries to divert our attention from his record, and he's diverting it onto Paul Brown. He is refusing to stand up and talk to us about his record. He wants to talk to us about Windstream. Any congressman that's sitting up there is going to try to help the people with their issues with Windstream. Any congressman sitting up there is going to try to help their people when the Corps of Engineers changes the rules on pulling water out to water your grass. Any congressman will do that. But will any congressman go up there and vote against omnibus bill? Will any congressman go up there and stand for the 9th District instead of standing for Washington? Will any congressman go up there and tell Washington what the 9th District wants instead of coming back here and telling us why Washington has to have his way? I'll tell you, no, not just any congressman will. Let Doug Collins come back and sit down and get out of our hair.
This is Mike Scoopine, and I approve this message.
Paid by Scoopine for Congress.
Trust. Round here, we trust people who get things done. Like our state representative, David Ralston. He's cut taxes and balanced the state budget every year. And Ralston delivers. New roads, new jobs, a new university, and the toughest immigration laws in America. Those Washington guys talk big, but never deliver. Round here, we trust David Ralston. Ralston gets it done.
Doug Collins has been a bad representative for the 9th District.
How bad is it?
Doug is such a bad representative that he won't even represent himself against his challengers for the 9th District seat. Well, that's pretty easy to understand. After all, showing up to defend a record like Doug's is a pretty tall order. Since taking office, Doug has voted with the House leadership over 90% of the time. Doug voted for Boehner for Speaker twice. He voted to spy on you, to bail out Wall Street banks in advance of the next crisis, to train Islamic radicals to take down foreign governments that pose no threat. Doug voted for the Omnibus, the Omnibus, voted to fund every Title X Planned Parenthood appropriation, and then has the nerve to try to sell you that he did not vote to fund abortion. If you want a representative who will work tirelessly to undo every wrong Doug Collins has done against the will of the 9th District, vote for Mike Skupine, a proven leader protecting the U.S. Constitution.
It's Mike Skupine, and I approve this message.
Paid by Skupine for Congress.
In 2015, our Gilmer County Probate Court heard over 1,300 criminal cases, 250 estate and guardianship matters, and probated or administered 110 plus wills. Those are very serious issues, and experience matters. We talked about the fact that every county with more than 96,000 people has a licensed attorney as their probate judge. The state requires it. They don't hear different cases. They don't hear different matters, and I don't believe that the due process you receive when you go to the probate court should be based off the county you live in. You want to have a judge who's been there, who's been on the other side of the bench, who's argued that, who knows it, and who can help you. Because compassion isn't always just about being able to listen, but it's being able to do something when you do listen. Experience matters, and I will use my experience in my private practice, in the U.S. Attorney's Office, and in 2 judges' chambers for the people of Gilmer County.
With early voting starting May the 2nd and the primary beginning on May the 24th, you'll be voting to elect leaders to several offices here in Fannin County. When it comes to the Chief Magistrate, you need someone that demonstrates honesty, integrity, and experience. Since being appointed by the Superior Court judges, I've made it my passion to uphold the same values and principles as the Honorable Judge before me. Whether it is answering the call when our community needed me or operating under budget during my term as Chief Magistrate, it's clear that throughout my 11 years of experience, I have always had Fannin County's best interests at heart. So this May, vote for the right choice. Vote for honesty, integrity, and experience. Vote to keep Sherry Walker.
Back to North Georgia's only live online morning news show, The Morning Report. I'm Kevin Hensley. Look for the Gilmer County Board of Education's work session Monday night at 6 p.m. The meeting will be held in the Gilmer County Administration Building in Ellijay, which is of course located across from Little Caesars Pizza. The Ellijay City Council will also hold its monthly meeting Monday night. You can attend City Hall at 5:30 p.m. for the work session and then 6 p.m. for the regularly scheduled meeting. Now, to find meeting announcements with agendas, be sure to go to fetchyournews.com, and in your respective county under the news section, you will find the legal notice section. The Fannin County High School Theater Department presents the spring musical 7 Brides for 7 Brothers tonight at 7 p.m. as well as tomorrow at 2 and 7 p.m. in the Fannin County High School Performing Arts Center. Admission is $5 at the door. During the 1850s, Millie, played by Charity Tuttle, a pretty young cook, marries Adam, played by Colin Queen, a backwoodsman, after a brief courtship. When the two return to Adam's farm, Millie is shocked to meet his 6 ill-mannered brothers, played by Nate Wood, Tristan Carroll, Dylan Weigel, Josh Melman, Adam Farmer, and Matt Jaffe, all of whom live in his cabin. She promptly begins teaching the brothers proper behavior and, most importantly, how to court a woman. Under the misguided influence of Plutarch Subban's women, the brothers kidnap 6 local beauties, played by Miley Butler, Cheyenne Reynolds, Jenna Garrison, Caitlin Dickey, Amber Stenstrom, and Krista Allen, and a group of indignant villagers tries to track them down. Now, all's well that ends well, but mayhem does ensue prior to the happy ending. Pilgrim's Pride of LJ will be hosting an on-site job fair tomorrow from 8 a.m. until 5 p.m. They are looking to fill both full-time and part-time positions, so stop by the job fair, of course, located at 125 Industrial Boulevard in LJ. The Fannin County Parks and Recreation Department will be hosting the first annual Touch-a-Truck event tomorrow from 10 a.m. until 1 p.m. at the Fannin County Recreation Center, which is, of course, located at 370 Tom Boyd Road in Blue Ridge. This is, of course, a free event for the public. Let the kids put their imaginations in gear and go, as kids will have the opportunity to climb aboard and get behind the wheel of their favorite vehicles such as dump trucks, learn from their operators, and meet some of their hometown heroes. Lyra, a vocal ensemble from St. Petersburg, Russia, will present a concert of Russian sacred and folk music tonight at St. Luke's Episcopal Church in Blue Ridge. That's, of course, located right across from the Kiwanis Fairgrounds. The concert will begin at 7 p.m. and is a free event for the public. And members of Lyra are students or postgraduates of the St. Petersburg Conservatory. Through the performances, they will introduce musical heritages of the Russian Orthodox Church, as well as traditions of Russian folk music to all people who are interested in Russia, its history, and culture. The group does sing a cappella, and the first half of the concert will feature sacred music of the Russian Orthodox Church, while the second half will feature Russian folk songs. The United Methodist Churches of White County will be hosting a Saturday in the Park event tomorrow from 3 to 7 p.m. at Freedom Park in Cleveland. The event includes free food, games, and music. Tents will be set up representing the various ministries serving all ages. In cooperation with WRWH Radio, a live radio show will be running from 4:30 to 7 p.m. The public is advised to bring their own chairs or blankets or tune in on the AM dial at 1350. Now, always be sure to visit FetchYourNews.com to stay tuned into a local calendar of events in your county. And if you have any announcements you would like to submit to us about an upcoming event, our email address is show@FetchYourNews.com. When we come back here on the Morning Report, we have spring football updates from both Gilmer and Pickens counties. Stay tuned.
Truck Month is back at your new Days Chevrolet in Jasper with savings up to $8,000 off MSRP. Right now, get a roomy new Chevy Equinox for just $23,200, or get Days max discount on a new Silverado Crew Cab, just $31,900, plus instant easy credit with Days Fast Track Credit Center. But these Truck Month savings won't last long. Get to Days Chevrolet in Jasper, where Chevy cars and trucks cost less.
Better days ahead, Days Chevrolet.
Find new roads.
What you gonna do with all that junk?
El Rey and Ellijay.
El Rey Mexican Restaurant.
Family owned and operated, and a local favorite for families, parties, and meetings.
Great prices.
Friendly service and delicious Mexican cuisine.
Patio dining available.
Come sing in Carlos's Cantina every Friday 9 to 1.
Eat in or take away.
Same location for 14 years. Open 7 days at the corner of Maddox Drive and 515. North Georgia's favorite Mexican cuisine. El Rey and Ellijay.
North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds. Come on in to view the area's largest selection of fine jewelry at North Georgia Diamond. All repairs and designs are done on site by our jewelers. And North Georgia Diamond has the lowest prices on loose diamonds. You can also sell your gold, silver, and coins at North Georgia Diamond between Walmart and Lowe's in East Ellijay. Locally owned by Bill and Allison Craig, North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds in North Georgia.
Only Pizza Hut delivers 2 medium pizzas any way you want for just $6.99 each. Get any 2 freshly made pizzas with high quality, fresh ingredients and sauce made with California vine ripened tomatoes. Now get your favorite specialty recipes like meat lovers, backyard barbecue chicken, or 5-pepper pepperoni. So you never have to compromise with any quality toppings, any crust, any specialty. Anything you want on any 2 medium pizzas, just $6.99 each. Only at Pizza Hut.
I'm Sheriff Dane Kirby, and I'll stand up for you.
I'm Stacy Nicholson, Sheriff of Gilmer County, and I will stand up for you.
Stand up and speak out. No matter how rich, cool, talented you believe yourself to be, how you treat people ultimately tells all. I am Allison Sosby, District Attorney, and I'll stand up for you.
Hi, I'm Rhonda the Mattress Lady, and this is my husband Gary, owners of Mattress Overstocked in Ellijay next to Walmart.
And we want to earn your business. From the time you walk in our door to the time we deliver your new mattress to your door, you will see the difference. Our selection and prices are the best in North Georgia, and customer service is our top priority. So y'all come on in and let us help you find the right mattress at the right price. That's Mattress Overstocked in Ellijay next to Walmart.
New Schottenkirk Ford in Jasper. Highway 515 South, Jasper. SchottenkirkFordJasper.com.
Welcome back to the Morning Report. I'm Kevin Hensley. The Gilmer High School football program all but concluded its 2016 spring training session Wednesday with a spring scrimmage game, of course the annual purple and white game held at Clear Creek Middle School. Head coach Jason Galt was very pleased with the results of the controlled scrimmage, which included white shutting out purple 15-0, of course those keeping score at home. A full recap of this game and quotes from Galt is now available on FetchYourNews.com. Likewise, the Pickens High School Dragons are hard at work in the spring sunshine, holding their workouts until the end of next week. Under the guidance of head coach Chris Parker, spring practice will conclude with a game next Friday at Jasper Middle School. The Dragons, of course, are looking to make it to the state playoffs for the 3rd consecutive season. The Gilmer Soccer Club will be holding select tryouts for the U13 to 19 age division for the fall 2016 season on June the 7th. For more information on the tryouts, you can visit GilmerSoccerClub.com. Keep a tab on local sports by using the hashtag TeamFYNSports. Now, as the director of Team FYN Sports, please feel free to contact me with any upcoming game announcements, scores, missing information, and more. My email address is kevin@fetchyournews.com. I'm also looking for anyone who wants to help us grow and expand our coverage within our viewing area. So if you're interested and want to become a sports reporter and you want to join the Fetch Your News sports reporting team, again, my email address, kevin@fetchyournews.com. Send me a question, send me your information. I'd love to hear from you. And remember, we're always looking to spotlight young athletes in a positive manner. After the break, we will spotlight our Pet of the Week from the Gilmer County Animal Shelter, and we will wrap up this edition of the Morning Report after word, of course, from our sponsors.
Doug Collins can't defend his own record. What does he do? He tries to divert our attention from his record, and he's diverting it onto Paul Brown. He is refusing to stand up and talk to us about his record. He wants to talk to us about Windstream. Any congressman that's sitting up there is going to try to help the people with their issues with Windstream. Any congressman sitting up there is going to try to help their people when the Corps of Engineers changes the rules on pulling water out to water your grass. Any congressman will do that. But will any congressman go up there and vote against omnibus bill? Will any congressman go up there and stand for the 9th District instead of standing for Washington? Will any congressman go up there and tell Washington what the 9th District wants instead of coming back here and telling us why Washington has to have his way? I'll tell you, no, not just any congressman will. Let Doug Collins come back and sit down and get out of our hair.
This is Mike Scoopine, and I approve this message.
Paid by Scoopine for Congress.
Trust. Round here, we trust people who get things done. Like our state representative, David Ralston. He's cut taxes and balanced the state budget every year. And Ralston delivers. New roads, new jobs, a new university, and the toughest immigration laws in America. Those Washington guys talk big, but never deliver. Round here, we trust David Ralston. Ralston gets it done.
Doug Collins has been a bad representative for the 9th District.
How bad is it?
Doug is such a bad representative that he won't even represent himself against his challengers for the 9th District seat. Well, that's pretty easy to understand. After all, showing up to defend a record like Doug's is a pretty tall order. Since taking office, Doug has voted with the House leadership over 90% of the time. Doug voted for Boehner for Speaker twice. He voted to spy on you, to bail out Wall Street banks in advance of the next crisis, to train Islamic radicals to take down foreign governments that pose no threat. Doug voted for the Omnibus, the Omnibus, voted to fund every Title X Planned Parenthood appropriation, and then has the nerve to try to sell you that he did not vote to fund abortion. If you want a representative who will work tirelessly to undo every wrong Doug Collins has done against the will of the 9th District, vote for Mike Scoopine, a proven leader protecting the U.S. Constitution.
It's Mike Scoopine, and I approve this message.
Paid by Scoopine for Congress.
In 2015, our Gilmer County Probate Court heard over 1,300 criminal cases, 250 estate and guardianship matters, and probated or administered 110 plus wills. Those are very serious issues, and experience matters. We talked about the fact that every county with more than 96,000 people has a licensed attorney as their probate judge. The state requires it. They don't hear different cases. They don't hear different matters, and I don't believe that the due process you receive when you go to the probate court should be based off the county you live in. You want to have a judge who's been there, who's been on the other side of the bench, who's argued that, who knows it, and who can help you. Because compassion isn't always just about being able to listen, but it's being able to do something when you do listen. Experience matters, and I will use my experience in my private practice, in the U.S. Attorney's Office, and in 2 judges' chambers for the people of Gilmer County.
With early voting starting May the 2nd and the primary beginning on May the 24th, you'll be voting to elect leaders to several offices here in Fannin County. When it comes to the Chief Magistrate, you need someone that demonstrates honesty, integrity, and experience. Since being appointed by the Superior Court judges, I've made it my passion to uphold the same values and principles as the honorable judge before me. Whether it is answering the call when our community needed me or operating under budget during my term as Chief Magistrate, it's clear that throughout my 11 years of experience, I have always had Fannin County's best interests at heart. So this May, vote for the right choice. Vote for honesty, integrity, and experience. Vote to keep Sherry Walker.
Welcome back to North Georgia's only live online morning news show, The Morning Report. I'm Kevin Hensley. Some say you can't buy friends. Those people must not live in Gilmer County. For a small adoption fee, you can get your very best friend at the Gilmer County Animal Shelter. Girly always listens, but never judges, even when you dress funny. Girly will always take your side, even if you're wrong. Girly is a 2-year-old super sweet pity mix that gets along great with other dogs. Girly will be your very best friend till the end. Stop by the Gilmer County Animal Shelter to claim Girly today. The shelter is, of course, located at 4152 Highway 52 East in Ellijay. Their phone number is 706-635-2166. And they're open to the public Tuesday through Saturday from 1 p.m. until 4 p.m. And don't forget, if you see news happening, you can call our 24-hour news tip line, 706-889-9700. That does it for today's show. We will see you at 10 a.m. Monday morning. I'm Kevin Hensley. Have a great weekend.